Hey guys, welcome back. Alrighty. Although the pieces from the Game Boy were gathered, all of the human adventurous witches and the witches on even a higher level had gathered in one place. That place was like a solemn cathedral with an unbelievably high ceiling. White stonework, golden ornaments. Though there were windows, there were no entrances or exits. It was strange place. But for some reason no one wondered where this strange place was because they were not given the right to think of this place as strange. The pieces, have they all been gathered? Yes, they have. Well done. What a show. I wonder just how many people there are here. No matter how many we see, every being outside the 18th is a phantom. Making you acknowledge them is what my game's all about. The three witches were seated on special thrones set upon a very high balcony. In the center sat the game master, Lambda Delta, and on either side of their semicircular balcony sat Bergenstow and Beatrice facing each other. Below them, Erica ran forward, lifted the corners of her skirt, and bowed respectfully. Great Lady Lambda Delta, we thank you for granting our request for an assembly. And Great Lady Bergenstow, my master, please look forward to it. Though it may be only for a short while, I will most certainly make my master forget about the poison that torments her. Yes, I'm looking forward to it. I expect no less from my double, my peace. Erica and Bergenstow exchange cruel smiles that make anyone want to avert their gaze. Listen up, witches and humans. I hereby announce that with this assembly of witches gathered, the Court of Illusions will now begin. The commander of the game spoke with words of power. Though her words were spoken within such a vast space, they were arranged with the force of a bell in a bell tower. Your lives and roles as they correspond to this game are over. The fifth game is now closed, and the 24 session shall begin. 24 o'clock intercession shall begin. Well, I'd like to get started quickly, but why don't we have everyone to quickly introduce themselves first? After all, there are so many people here. I am Lambda Delta, the Witch of Certainty and the new commander of this game. Bergenstow, Witch of Miracles. My goal is to penetrate Beatrice's illusion of the witch. I am the endless witch of Beatrice. My goals are to claim my own existence and to protect Natsuhi and Kenzo. Battler Sama, you come next in rank. I'm Ushirimiya Battler. I'm fighting against Beatos, no, against the witches, that's all. As I believe you know, you joined in on this game partway through. At this time, the Assembly of Witches opens. You have yet to participate. Do you understand? I get it. You probably mean I don't have the right to speak for a while, right? Thank you for understanding. Even though Battler held a rank near that of witches, he sat on the foremost of the benches shared with the other relatives, all by himself at one end. He met the gaze of Beato, who was up on the balcony. You might have said you were my arch enemy. Well, you aren't necessarily my only enemy. Let's take this game back. It belongs to us. Yeah. I almost said I was fighting against Beato's illusions of the witch. Since the beginning, Beato has been my only enemy. But right now, Erica and those witches who stirred toying around with Beato's tail are also my enemies. Who should I fight and how? Who should I fight and how? Maybe it's a good thing I don't have the right to speak for a while. I'll calm down and coolly watch over everything. I am the detective and the one who called for this assembly of the witches. Perudo Erica, I will expose the culprit of the fifth game and stick a charming period on the end of this tale. Erica greeted the witches above her and the humans behind her once again. I am also looking forward to it. Okay, remaining pieces, introduce yourselves in whatever order. Humans, introduce yourselves, all of you. When 45 urged him to introduce himself, Kenzo stood up. I'm Ushirimiya Kenzo. I slipped out of the study window and am hiding somewhere on Rokonjima. Ushirimiya Cross. Currently, I have been captured and am being confined somewhere. I am Ushirimiya Eva. I'm alive. I'm Rudolph. The rest of us are all Ushirimiya's too, so I'll leave off the family name. I'm Rosa. I was killed on the first twilight. Jessica, I also died on the first twilight. I'm George. I also died on the first twilight. Mariah, I died, but look, I'm here talking. See? Dying isn't a big deal, right? I'm Ushiramiya Natsuhi. I am alive. Gah. Hideyoshi here. I was killed just a short while ago. Kari, I'm still alive. Najo, I am also hanging in there. My name is Genji. I passed away on the first twilight. I am Shannon. I'm still alive. I'm Kennen. I'm also alive. Goda. Pleased to meet you, everyone. I am Kumasawa. Pleased to meet you. Now on to the witches. Everyone introduce yourselves. Virgilia's group could also be seen. Unlike the floor Bito's group was on, the second floor had a balcony that looked like raised audience seating, and they sat there looking down as though they were at a theater. My name is Virgilia. I am Beatrice's teacher. I'm Gap. Making corpses disappear is my job. Rono. I'm in charge of making black tea. I greet you in the name of the Seven Sisters of Purgatory. I serve in the murder of Hideyoshi on the second twilight. The Seven Sisters of Purgatory right here. Let us then have Lady Erica's furniture introduce themselves. Gertrude, I am an assistant inquisitor of Hersey. Cornelia, I am an assistant inquisitor of Hersey. The two of them could also be seen on the second floor audience seating. They sat apart from Virgilia's group. Then Delana, who was seated between the two, slowly stood up. She had a presence and a dignity about her, as though she was overseeing everything from that place. Delana A. Knox is my name. I am Lady Erica's primary assistant. Battler, I expect much from you. Please don't disappoint me. Let's just both give it all we've got. Most of the time, there will be no need for Delana to step forward. However, when the witches side plays around with ugly word games, I'll need to have Delana convict them. A miracle like the one in the study won't happen again. And finally, let us introduce ourselves. We are the Tricer Sisters Imperial Guards, who have been tasked with the management of proceedings at this assembly of witches. Hello, everyone. This ends the introductions of all pieces. A total of 38 people are present here. There are 38 characters in the 5th game, but if you added all the pieces from previous games too, it would probably rise even higher. This game, which has so often been like chess, now has 4 more pieces in the chessboard. Very well then, I guess we'll have to get started. Let the person who called this meeting begin. Oh, excuse me, Mr. Go. Refill my drink. And some popcorn for me. Yeah, that's right. The one who decided demons up the popcorn when watching a play was you, after all. Yes, I intend to enjoy this. And could I get some black tea and mustard miso? Erica, begin. I'm already starting to get bored. Yes, my master, leave it to me. Order silence. At the sound of her voice, the Chester sisters' chorus straightened up, lifted up their right knees, and stamped down hard on the floor with their heels. It became a low, deep rumble in the ground, and all chatter in the cathedral disappeared instantly. As their eyes and expressions became even more hollow and empty, the room fell back into silence, almost as though they were a collection of wax models. Amidst this heavy silence, there was a sound of footsteps as Erica walked out into the center where she could catch everyone's attention. And when she signaled with her chin, a good tin appeared from a pillar. It carried a single plain chair out in the front and center of the room. It must have been the defendant's chair. I, Frudo Erica, will make an accusation. The murder of the 5th game is... Ushimiya Natsuhi-san. You are the culprit. Erica pointed at Natsuhi and spoke. Now Natsuhi waxed all alone, shook and regained his expression. It was an expression of panic. Chester sisters, please take the defendant to her chair. Understood. Wait, what are you doing? Let go of me. 45 and 410 both pinned Natsuhi's arms behind her back and led her to a chair In the center, Natsui resisted, but the Trasher sisters were surprisingly strong and she couldn't do anything. She turned to the relatives for help, but they just remained silent like wax models. I, Furuto Erika, will now reconstruct why the crime was only possible for Ushirami and Natsuhi. Bieto, of course you'll be challenging this, right? Naturally. I am the Ushirami family alchemist, Beatrice the Golden. Furuto Erika, I challenge you. I'll take these false accusations you're trying to place on my master and tear them apart. Beatrice. Fear not, Natsuhi, you are my master, and you are the true head with the one-winged eagle engraved in your heart. Do not fear a crime you have not committed. At those words, Natsuhi jerked back and gulped. Her panic falling disappeared, and she stood up straight. That's true. I am Ushirami Natsuhi. I will confer any challenge that would disgrace the Ushirami family. Hehehe, how can you try a bluff like that in a situation like this? You really are the bullied kid in every single fragment. So Burn, make your claims. I, Burgestell, claim that a human Ushirami Natsuhi is the culprit of this game, and you too, Beato, okay? I, Beatrice, claim that the culprit in this game is not human. I am the culprit. Burgestell, who smiled daringly, and Beatrice, who smiled firmly across the gazes. Listen, witches and humans. These two claims have appeared for a single truth. Is the culprit human, Ushirami Natsuhi? Is the culprit a witch, Beatrice? If the witch wins, the truth about the fifth game will disappear into darkness. If Erika wins, the illusion of the witch will be wiped from the game board. In other words, for Beato alone, this is a battle that must not be lost. Are you prepared? And what am I supposed to be preparing myself for? This has always been just what I wanted. If Erika wins, the illusion of the witch will be destroyed. That means the existence of the witch will be denied. Beato was fighting for her life. However, this was the only time she had been fighting for her life. It had always been a life or death struggle, even when she fought with Battler. Because if Battler had wanted to destroy the illusion of the witch in the previous games, Beato would have been destroyed. That's dirty. Erika alone has something to lose if she fails. I wonder, Lady Burgestell's not a compassionate person. I can't imagine she'd give warm treatment to a piece that didn't perform to her expectations. If it was inconceivable that the ruthless Burgestell would place no blame at all on a piece who had suffered defeat, Erika was probably fighting for her life just as much. The two claims would clash, and one would be weeded out. One would fall and would not leave this place alive. The only ones who truly had nothing to lose were those witches. Okay, no problems. Get started. In that case, I would like to go first. The murder of Hideyoshi-san was very simple. It should be impossible to suspect anyone other than Natsuhi-san. Except for the victim and Natsuhi-san, all of us were in the same room, correct? It really was simple. Except for Natsuhi, everyone had been inside the parlor, and because it was so simple, it was decisive. No matter how you look at it, the one who killed Hideyoshi was Natsuhi. No, it's the other way around. No matter how you look at it, no one except for Natsuhi could have killed Hideyoshi. There's no room for discussion or debate. I'm telling you that's a mistake. Maybe I don't have an alibi. However, I don't believe a lack of alibi proves that one is the culprit. We know that Natsuhi is the only one without an alibi, but wait, the scene of the murder was a closed room. It should have been impossible for anyone, including Natsuhi, to have committed the crime in that room, except for me, that I could have done it with magic. I'll explain the closed room trick to how done it later. For the time being, I'll start with the whodunit. Because of the aforementioned, it's impossible to suspect any character except Natsuhi-san regarding the murder of Hideyoshi-san. Milady, it may be dangerous to press any further on this. I agree. It's the fact that Natsuhi was hiding in the closet of Hideyoshi's room. When it comes to repeating things in red, they'll check to see who's in the room. You'll be cornered. Probably. Lady Lambda Delta is the commander of this game. If it suits her fancy, she'll set up Natsuhi as a culprit regardless of the facts. If the typhoon passes, the police come to perform a scientific investigation. Perhaps the true culprit will be identified and the false accusations against Natsuhi will be lifted. However, in this closed-off Rokushima, the police will not arrive for all eternity. In other words, the real truth will not be revealed. Inside this cat box will never be opened. False charges that everyone accepts are worth no more or less than the truth. Their aim is most likely to use the simple murder of Hideyoshi to give the impression that Natsuhi-sama is the culprit, before moving on to the first Twilight's reconstruction, which is more uncertain elements. It's not good at all to move forward with the Game Master suspecting us. We should take the initiative. Sure. Lady Lambda Delta, as you are well aware, a fair number of murders were committed during the fifth game, and we were skipping a rather lengthy chunk of time from midnight until the early morning. Skipping the Hideyoshi's murder and stepping backwards and forwards in time will only lead to confusion, and it's my belief that we should all follow events chronologically and in order Though the decision is yours, of course. Objection. In the process of prosecuting the culprit, chronological order has no significance. Objection. Further, Erica is trying to mix up the chronological sequence in order to create a false impression of the events. Well, I'm not a fan of confusing things myself. I accept Beato's claim. Erica started with the first Twilight instead of jumping to the second. I definitely saw Erica click her tongue. I understand. So this is a way of telling Hokajima's tale. I was guided by Virgilia, met Beatrice, reached a peak from which you could see everything below you, and finally understood the truth of this world. This is that thing you were talking about earlier, Virgilia. Yes, that's right. Truth is very, very fragile in this place. As long as each side makes its own claim, different truths can exist at the same time. Yes, this really is a trial. Both sides put forth their own truths. This truly is the bronze tube trial that Virgilia once used as an analogy. Then I will follow Lady Lambda Delta's orders and start from the first crime at the first twilight. As you know, at 24 o'clock on October 4th, the first day, following her short break at the family conference, Natsuhi left on her own, saying that she was going to bed early. Therefore, her alibi is completely lost from that time until the next morning. The culprit is Ushami and Natsuhi because Natsuhi is the only one with an alibi. Oh, is that so? I believe there are several other people besides Natsuhi who have dubious alibis. Unless you get clear suspicion from all of them, I cannot allow you to call Natsuhi the culprit. We cannot conclude that Natsuhi is the culprit as long as there are other people without alibis. Okay, guys, if you want to read this, pause it right now, because I'm going to also pause the recording so I can read this to myself. Okay. Well, that's a lot of reading, so you know, you guys could pause and read if you haven't yet. I already did. True. If Erica's going to call Natsuhi suspicious so confidently, she's first got to show it that anyone else has an alibi, right, Burn? Yes, of course. Erica will explain that perfectly. The culprit is Ushimi and Natsuhi because we will prove that everyone else had an alibi. Of course, my master. In that case, I would like to explain things in order. Let's forget about Genji's murder for now and focus on the crime in the guest house. For this case, you'd like to suspect the servants who were in the guest house, right? On that night, Goda and Kumasawa-san were there. Isn't that right, you two? When she turned to face the direction where those two were seated, those two wax models from home came back to life. They probably weren't even granted souls until they were allowed to speak. In that case, it would have been better if Natsuhi's soul could have disappeared as well. Natsuhi, who was in the defendant's chair, kept her soul the whole time and was constantly hanging her head, looking nervous. Goda hurried to his feet and answered Erica's question. Yes, that is correct. On that evening, I was alone in the guest house serving room. Well, look, at my age, staying up all night will be a heavy burden, so I returned to the waiting room in the guest house and went to bed right away on my own. Yes, yes. Does that mean Goda and Kumasawa have lost their alibis? Kumasawa claims that she was sleeping alone in the waiting room. Goda claims he was alone in the serving room. Either of them should have enough time to go to the cousin room and commit murder. Nonsense. Why would we do something like that? That's right. How could I ever kill someone? We cannot conclude that Natsuhi is the culprit. After all, was the crime also possible for Kumasawa, who was in the guest house? Was the crime also possible for Goda in the guest house? Natsuhi said it all. Both Kumasawa, who was sleeping alone in the waiting room, and Goda, who was alone in the serving room, are in the same exact position. In the same exact same situation as Natsuhi in her room. Both of them have lost their alibis. Have no fear, I guarantee that neither of these two are murderers. First off, following dinner, Kumasawa left the mansion with me and the others and went to the guest house, entered the waiting room, and slept until morning. It's the same for Goda-san. Once he finished with his job, he chatted with us in the lounge and went to sleep afterwards. Neither of them had the opportunity to commit murder. So we're falling here. I see it's time for me to stand up as well. Your turn is over already, Erica. Go summon that bodyguard you rely on so much. Beato glanced out where Delanor sat on the second floor audience seating. However, Delanor just stared back with those usual expressionless eyes. Repeat it. We have absolute proof of Goda and Kumasawa's alibis. We refuse. Why give a hint to an enemy? There's no way we'd answer. Ha ha, did you hear that, Lady Lambda Delta? They say they have no proof. How could they claim that Goda and Kumasawa have alibis without proof? Good point. What do you say, Burn? Erica, how can you claim that Goda and Kumasawa have alibis? Fall back, Erica. My opponent is Delana over there. A human like you can be no match for a witch. No, there's no need for Delana to step forward. And in fact, it's precisely because I'm your human will defeat a witch that the illusion of the witch will now be denied. So go ahead, use the red or blue as much as you like. I'm ready for it, okay? In response to Erica's challenge, Beato smiled boldly, yet gracefully, and slowly stood up, and they glared at each other between the floor and the balcony. Goda and Kumasawa have no alibis. The two of them were in the guest house and could have reached the cousin room to commit murder at any time. Unless you could deny that possibility, you could not treat Natsuki as the culprit. Beato's blue tree struck out rapidly. The curtain had finally jumped and the battle had begun. A human like Erica can't use any red. How could she turn this around without calling Delana? Though Erica cannot use it, her master, Lady Birkenstow, can. We mustn't let our guards down. Blue truth valid. What do you all do, Burn? Will you or Delana step in instead? It's still not my turn, and it's not Lady Birkenstow's turn either. Yes, that's right. There's no need for us to show for something like this. This is important, precisely because I'm your human like Furuto. Erica will defeat you, Beato. Because you'll be defeated by human, we'll know all that fake witch who calls herself Beatrice the Golden. It's nothing more than a subhuman phantom. If you really could do that, it'd be totally entertaining. Very well, Erica. Let's see what you've got. Explaining it for the first time, Kumasawa's son is extremely simple. Kumasawa, stand. Yes. Kumasawa, from the time you went to bed last night to the time you were informed about the crime in the morning, did you ever leave the wedding room? No. I was sound asleep until morning. I really was. The truth is, after dinner last night, I had a chat with Iwa-san and she told me something very interesting. I tried it out myself. And what exactly is that? You don't mean? That's right. It's what coordinated and sealed Kenzo in his study. I learned that you could create a seal by putting something between the door and the frame. Are you kidding? Did she actually do that to Kumasawa's son's waiting room? Erica was at a guest house, so there's no obstacle to her being capable of that. After all, it was just an unsettling night and a massive amount of gold just been discovered. Many sorts of crimes might have occurred. Where there is a detective, there will be a crime. I foresaw that some kind of crime would take place, so I used it to seal away people whose alibis might otherwise be lost. Erica held a small folded piece of brown paper high in the air. After I watched Kumasawa-san return to the guest house with me, say goodnight into the waiting room, I used it to seal the door. Then, in the morning, when the crime was discovered and caused a big uproar, I immediately went to check Kumasawa-san's waiting room, where I confirmed that the seal was still set. Therefore, I could prove Kumasawa-san's alibi. Kumasawa has an alibi. Okay, guys, like I said, if you guys want to... Oh, never mind. It's the same thing. Okay, so we're going through, I guess, the whole list of this. Okay, one got blacked out. Good. I want to follow by not a single gap. Kumasawa returned to the guest house with Erica and went to the wedding room to sleep and never left the room until morning. In other words, after Kumasawa returned to the guest house, she never went to the second floor until morning. The proof Erica had shown was elevated by Birkenstow became red truth. This truth, which had become red, could no longer be overturned even by Beato. In other words, in that instant, Kumasawa's perfect alibi had been absolutely guaranteed. Ho ho ho. Then what about Goda? Goda's son holed up at the servant room right after reaching the guest house. I sealed him up in the same way. Then when Rosa's son returned at 1 a.m., I happened to notice her and I stepped out into the corridor. I let Goda's son, who was still in the servant room, know this. At that moment, the seal was still in place, so from the time we arrived at the guest house until 1 a.m., Goda's son never left the servant room. And afterwards, he was with me in the lounge until 3 a.m. And after 3 a.m., I was on the second floor, so I could guarantee that Goda's son didn't come up to the second floor. Erica still proves that Goda was holed up in the servant room until 1 a.m., and Erica is proving his alibi from then until 3 a.m., since she was passing the time in the lounge with him, and Erica is also proving that he would never set foot on the second floor until the morning after. In other words, after Goda returned to the guest house, he never went up to the second floor until morning. Goda has an alibi. Oh, this is good. Alright, this is really good. Okay, red truth valid. Well done, Erica. The alibi due to your seal on that door has been acknowledged by Burn and elevated to the status of red truth. Thank you very much, my master. I am the detective. I may be human, but I can use the red tooth despite that and surpass humans. So now you clearly not surpass humans. It's 1,000 years too early for you to talk like that conceited brat. I'll be a pain to have you try anything funny, so I'll make this clear now. In fact, I should have done this in the beginning. I apologize for being so roundabout. This is the situation around the guest house at 24 o'clock. The code was found, an emergency family meeting was called for, and Butler-san went to the mansion with the relatives. I and the 3 cousins, Dr. Nacho, Goto-san, and Kumasawa-san remain in the guest house. I have already explained Goto-san and Kumasawa-san's alibis. George-san, Jessica-san, and Mariah-san were playing cards in the cousin room. I actually joined them for just a little bit, and I clearly witnessed that they were alive at that time. My master, I ask that you repeat this. Yes, I'll respond. At 24 o'clock in the guest house, George, Jessica, and Mariah were alive in the second floor cousin room. Nacho, Goto, and Kumasawa were on the first floor. And since there's no need to hold it off anymore, I'll confirm that all the victims so far are dead. George, Jessica, Mariah, Rosa, and Genji really are dead. How could they be playing dead with their necks sliced open like that? No murder occurred before 24 o'clock. We guarantee that George's group is dead. Already 3 down. Nice. Thanks for repeating that, my master. If we hadn't made the scenes clear, you might have been started going on about how they were already dead before I guaranteed anyone's alibis, or that they weren't actually dead at all. Unsurprisingly, Byaku's side couldn't get away with the simple plan of claiming that the victims were only playing dead, but in order to overcome Goto and Kumasawa's alibis, it should have been impossible to suppose that the crime occurred before those doors were sealed. However, the opponent had predicted this one perfectly. It had been shown in red that the crime did not occur before the time period covered by Erika's alibis. Got it. That's the last time the victims were confirmed to be alive. I wish you said that in the beginning. This means we can ignore everything that happened before 24 o'clock. To go in further, at 24 o'clock, Natsuhi, Cross, and Genji were in the corridor on the second floor of the mansion. All the remaining people were at the family conference in the dining hall. Of course, at that point in time, no murder had occurred. Genji was also alive. Addendum. Okay. There been none of them left the mansion before 1 o'clock, excluding Natsuhi. This isn't something Erika observed, but we can't move the game forward without settling it. Very well, I'll acknowledge that red truth. Thank you very much for that red truth, my master. Since Erika had been in the guest house, it was only natural that she could explain the situation there. However, since she hadn't been in the mansion at the time, explaining the situation over there would have been extremely difficult for her. Byaku would normally have attacked there with the blue truth, saying that the people in the dining hall had all agreed to keep the same story, that someone had stuck out of the dining hall and that they might have committed murder in the guest house. However, because Burton had instantly settled that matter with the red text, the Byaku had completely lost her chance to strike back. Ooh. Okay, I'm gonna take a quick drink of apple juice real quick. Oh yeah, much better. Damn it. Very troublesome to think we would put at such a disadvantage. This is almost the exact opposite of Shay's fights with Battler. In fact, the situation might even be worse than that was back then. At a glance, the fight between the two of them resembled our previous fights. However, there were some vital differences. The first was whether or not Byaku was the game master. The Byaku who fought against me was the game master, so she knew all the truth. That's why she was able to use the red text at will. However, the current Byaku isn't the game master. She's just a single piece on the game board. In other words, even Byaku doesn't know the truth. So you can see that Byaku is now in the same position I once was. Also, though Erika may seem to be in the same position I once was, the situation for her is totally different. She's connected to the witch called Birkenstow. Even though she isn't the game master, she's capable of elevating Erika's statements to become rare truth. Because of this, Erika can use the rare truth even though she's neither witch nor the game master. Byaku, who's supposed to be the witch, possesses no truth nor red she can use, and yet the detective, Erika, can use the red truth. The advantage has completely flipped over to the other side. Perhaps you could say that the current Byaku is in a much worse position than I was when I fought with her. After I got used to the game, Byaku stopped responding to my demands that she use the red, but in the beginning she responded to almost all of them, giving me quite a few hints. That's why we were able to fight on par. However, Birkenstoll is different. She fully understands the rules of this game and is prepared to corner Bito without even a hint of restraint. And because of this, I knew. In the past, Bito went easy on me so we could fight on par with each other. This has become quite an amusing fight. I see, so I must fight from the position Battler once stood in. Bito, in the past I've insulted you and called you incompetent. I can handle much, much worse than this. It's not impossible to suspect Goda and Kumasawa. You can't win by arguing that point any longer. Yes, let's switch to a different approach. The next in line will probably be Nacho. He was also in the guest house. Nacho was in the lounge with Erica. However, I believe the time periods before and after that have been left open. That's right, I'll strike there. Nacho, you were relaxing in the first floor lounge of the guest house with Erica and Goda, correct? Was the crime also possible for Nacho, who was in the guest house? Yes, I was with Erica-san the whole time. And during what time was this? From 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. Yes, that's right. It's the period between 1 and 3. Dr. Nacho, Goda-san, and I were relaxing in the lounge. Repeat it, my master. I'll respond. From 1 a.m. to 3 a.m., Erica, Nacho, and Goda spent their time in the lounge on the first floor of the guest house. Though she had flat out refused to repeat what Bito told her to, she responded to Erica's demand immediately. The red truth was starting to corner Bito. She grimaced as though in pain, but she still struck back with blue truth. No, perhaps she really was in pain, now that the characters apart from Natsuhi have their alibis established. The illusion of the witch is also being denied. Bito perceived the denial of her existence as pain. Even so, he shouldn't have an alibi for the time period before and after you were in the lounge. It was possible for Nacho to commit the crime too. That's right. I get that Nacho was in the lounge with Erica from 1 to 3, but what about before and after that? What about that, Erica? Yes, first the alibi before 1 a.m. This is no problem at all. I played cards with the cousins in the room until 24 o'clock and then went downstairs to the lounge where I met Dr. Nacho. That's right. At 24 o'clock I met Erica-san after she came downstairs and spoke with her, learning that she was quite the connoisseur of the mystery genre. I realized that I found a kindred spirit. When I went to the library to solve the Epitas riddle, I noticed that there were several original copies of famous foreign mystery novels stored there, so I wanted to discuss them with the actual books in hand. We moved to the library and were talking to the whole time, constantly until we moved to the lounge. Crammed through it was the book storage room, and the guest house was stocked well enough that it was fair to call it a small library. And in it were several famous foreign mystery novels that Kenzo had once taken a liking to. Of course, they were all originals and in English, but English was no problem for either Erica or Nacho. For this occasion, they had borrowed the key to the library one more time for Goda in the servant room. At that point, Erica checked the signal again and of course reset it. Damn her, even though she keeps it sealed for anyone else to enter or leave, she alone enters and leaves whenever she wants. I see, so from 24 o'clock until 3 a.m. when you went to sleep, you were with Nacho the whole time. That means Nacho's alibi is almost rock solid to them all. Yes, that's exactly it, my master repeated. I'll respond. After 24 o'clock, Erica was with Nacho the whole time until 3 a.m. At 24 o'clock, the crime in the cousins' room still hadn't occurred, so this way an alibi had been established for the period before the time they were in the lounge. After that, we talked to the library and into the hallway at 1 a.m. When we did, we just happened to bump into Rosa-san as she returned. I then told Goda-san about that. I figured it would probably be servants' responsibility to welcome in a guest. Goda asked if he should bring a towel, but Rosa refused. She quickly headed up to the second floor. At this point, Erica, Goda, and Nacho gathered together and decided to have a drink. Their alibis in the lounge up until 3 a.m. have already been proclaimed and read, so there are no problems there. Let's continue on to after 3 a.m. This is Dr. Nacho's alibi after we split up. At 3 a.m., Battler-san returned and the people in the lounge went their separate ways. Dr. Nacho, Battler-san, and I went up to the second floor. I then said goodnight to Dr. Nacho. At this time, of course, I put a seal on the door to the doctor's room as well. And went unchanged until the crime was discovered. If I flew out of my room at the same time as Battler's scream and checked to the door, Dr. Nacho's room was still sealed. Therefore, Dr. Nacho's alibi is perfect for both before 1 a.m. and after 3 a.m. Dr. Nacho has an alibi. Alright. Looks like about half of them are done. Splendid, Erica. Both your seal and your red tooth are perfect. Nacho had the alibi of being with Erica until 3 a.m. and he didn't leave his room after 3 a.m. until morning. Erica made use of the seals on the doors and was guaranteed red truths from Burkesdale one after another. For me, demanding that Beto repeat something had been about maneuvering and tactics, but it's totally different for Erica. For her, it's like having a trump card that can make red whenever she wants. This concludes the proof of alibis for all suspects in the guest house. Any problems? I do have a problem, and that problem is, Beto racked her brains to find some point to latch onto, but Erica's red had been ruthlessly perfect. There was no point she could take an issue with. Beto kept thinking hard, trying to fault Erica on something, but her expression was wrought with desperation that anyone could tell by looking. Beto's complaint is rejected. I can't sense any problems at all. It's been totally cute and perfect. Alibis for all humans and guesses have now been proven. Wait a sec, Erica. Are you trying to leave me out of this? Ushumi and Battler also should have had a chance to commit the crime. After all, I was in the same room as all the victims all night. I'm not going to let you skip past this while ignoring me. At that time, an arrow twisted like a golden snake and hit me. It didn't pierce through me, but it slapped me hard on the cheek like a whip. Battler saw my here to speak has not been recognized. Be warned. Ow, damn it. Yeah, I understand, Battler, and my apologies. Forgive me. Eric, you still haven't shown an alibi for Battler. Battler's a man who was sleeping alongside the victims. Shouldn't he be placed under suspicion more than anyone else? Was the crime also possible for Battler, who was in the guest house? Beto's right, you can't go skip a Battler like that. My apologies, I had completely forgotten. After Battler returned at 3 a.m., he went up to the second floor with them, and I believe you also went to your own room and slept. You may have gone to the cousin room at 24 o'clock, but I don't think you went there after 3 a.m. Will you now claim that you went to crawl into Battler's bed later on? Well, if you say you were both... If you say you were looking at Battler's sleepy face all night long to confirm his alibi in the cousin room, then I'd accept it, right? Yes, I listened to them breathing and sleep all night long. Got a problem with that? What? I proved to Eric I could prove that Battler started returned to the cousin room at 3 a.m., that he went straight to bed afterwards, and that he went straight to sleep. And I could prove that until he woke up and noticed the gruesome situation the room was in, and let us scream. Nothing happened in that room. So yeah, no need to worry. If Battler's son isn't the culprit, he's just a charming first discoverer who entered the murder scene without realizing he was the one and slept until morning. That's insane. It shouldn't be possible for you to prove that with those seals you love so much. How could you prove this? That's ridiculous. At the time I entered the room alone, Erica probably went into her room too. How could she see something like that as though she saw the whole thing? She never said she saw it. The room Erica was assigned to, where was it located? Erica, please tell me, how could you prove so much about Battler? I expect no less from a true detective. My room was right next to the cousin room. There was only a single thin wall between them. You don't mean you put your ear against the wall to check? Oops, I didn't mean to skip that. Yes, my ears are perfect. Right after Battler started into the room, I put my ear against the wall and checked to make sure nothing strange happened. You said you could prove that nothing happened until Battler let us scream until next morning. You don't mean... Yes, I put my ear against the wall and listened in on that room until morning without sleeping a wink. Everyone was stunned into silence. She put her ear against the wall the entire time until morning. She listened to what was going on in Battler's room. Just what would that have looked like? Until dawn, she had killed her breathing in a pitch-black room, clinging to the wall shared with the cousin room, like some kind of creepy, venomous spider clinging to the wall of a darkened room. Birkenstow alone was grinning in triumph. Due to the progression of the game, I realized that the Battler, the one who had received the head's ring, would be a key player. I was sure that Battler would be a victim of the first Twilight. Yeah, so just as my master told me to do, I put my ear against the wall until morning without a wink of sleep, checking to make sure nothing unusual happened. Erica has a photographic memory, and her hearing ability is on par with the tape recorder. It would have been impossible for him to deceive Erica's ears, either to kill George and the others or make those wounds on their throats. It was impossible for Battler to commit the crime. It's an accept the power of the detective's authority. I have no choice but to acknowledge it. I'll confirm it in red. Ushumi and Battler returned to the cousin room at 3 a.m. and fell asleep. After that, until the discovery of the crime, absolutely nothing out of the ordinary happened in the room. In other words, it was impossible for Battler to commit murder or damage to corpses. The red from the pair forced Beto to show an expression of considerable anguish. It was only natural. Those red truths not only guaranteed the Battler's alibi, but a number of other things as well. First off, I meant the murder was impossible for anyone after 3 a.m., and since the cousins were confirmed to be alive at the slightest 24 o'clock, the time period of the crime automatically became between 24 and 3. That meant the alibis were all people who weren't at guest house before 3 a.m. had also been guaranteed automatically. It is impossible for the crime to have occurred after 3 o'clock. That one hurts a lot. After 24 o'clock, Erica was in the guest house the whole time, so it would have been difficult for her to prove alibis for all the people in the mansion. It should have been almost impossible to prove alibis for Eva and the others, but now all she has to do is prove that they never visited the guest house between 24 and 3, and she could prove these alibis. Anyway, Walter reconstructed that the murders were possible before 3, and we had to prove that it was possible for one of the people in the mansion to do it. The people who had been in the guest house all had alibis during the crime that occurred before 24. Then the crime couldn't have occurred after 3. In other words, there was no way for that murders to happen unless someone from the mansion committed the crime between 24 and 3. Is it possible that someone in the mansion committed the crime between 24 and 3? In order to protect Natsuhi, she had established that it was possible for someone other than Natsuhi to commit the crime. Ironically, the witch had proved that a human had committed the crime. Still, this is getting pretty difficult. Until 3, Erica was in the lounge, and you have to pass through there to reach the second floor. In other words, she's practically like a manager for the guest house second floor. This tactic may be a bit overused, but if it was possible for someone to go up to the second floor without Erica noticing, we should be able to prove that the crime was possible for anyone. It's probably possible for a human to climb up to the second story window if they really wanted to. Could there possibly be a way to reach the second floor without passing through the lounge Erica was in? Of course, Beto had also thought of striking back that way, and Burgess must have thought this as well. Butler and Nacho go to Kumasawa while we realize that the crime was impossible for all these people in the guest house. However, what about the humans in the mansion? As I already said, as my master has even proclaimed with the red truth, I was in a lounge on the first floor of the guest house, and to reach the second floor, well, must pass through the lounge. In other words, it was impossible to reach the second floor without me seeing it. And what if there wasn't impossible? For example, what if someone placed a ladder against the outer wall of the guest house or snuck in through a second story window? There must be a way to reach the second floor without passing through the lounge. That way it would be possible to reach the crime scene without you seeing it. Beto finally struck back. Before now, she let Erica take total control and attack her with the red over and over. During the time, Beto's counterattacks with the blue truth have been few in number, even including this one. Of course, I need to try saying that. I couldn't have my lookout in the lounge become meaningless. So first I must prove that my lookout was perfect. First off, because of how the guest house is constructed, it's impossible to reach the second floor without me seeing it from the lounge. There are no places undercover, nor are there any physical or mental blind spots. My master repeated. It was impossible for someone to reach the second floor of the guest house without anyone in the lounge noticing it. Though, of course, there are only first to reach the second floor from inside the building. Good, my master. So next is Lady Beatrice's theory that might be some... Hold on, guys. Ooh. Okay, that is much better. Oh, there we go. So it's Lady Burgess's theory there might be a way to reach the second floor from the outside. This really is a problem. After all, there are trees that could probably be climbed. If someone could use the ladder, even crawling up the ring gutter couldn't be ruled out as impossible. But I can't let you do that. Oh, you won't let me in? How's that? Did you stay up all night circling the guest house? No, you couldn't do that. You were in the lounge. From the lounge, you could only see a part of the outer perimeter through the window. That's true. I couldn't prevent all methods to climb into the second floor from the outside. However, I was able to prevent all entry to the second floor. Prevent entry? I'd already foreseen this move. How terrifying that she would be so persistent. Because of how the guest house is constructed, the windows are only a method of entry from the outside to the second floor. The locks, not important at all. I only had to prove that none of the windows or shutters were open, even once. After I witnessed the location of the hidden gold, I returned to the guest house and immediately began severing all methods of entry to the second floor of the guest house so they didn't pass through the lounge. Yes, it's exactly the same. No different from the rest. Don't tell me you used the seal of yours on all the windows of the guest house in that weather just like that? Yeah, well, I did have my swimsuit from when I drifted here. You're insane. At that house where you were welcome as a guest, you just did like that in the middle of the rain even though nothing had happened yet? For a normal human, it would have been an action so suspicious as to be completely impossible. However, she is the witch's piece. In the middle of all that rain, Erica sealed all the windows from the outside to create an alibi showing that no one could have snuck into the guest house from the outside. She climbed up the wall herself and did that to all the windows on the first and second floor, not to all things that could possibly have permitted entry. Although after hearing that she listened to the cousin room all night long without even sleeping a wink, this new bizarre action didn't seem quite so impossible. This had probably also looked like a venomous spider, a disgusting spider crawling over the outside guest house wall during a storm. What do you think of this Ushumi family? Is this how you pay us for welcoming you as a guest? To a detective, the Ushumi family is something more or less than a strange upon which the crime occurs. Before the outbreak of the crime, it was important for me to memorize the names of the characters, memorize the layout of the land, and prepare for the upcoming crime by devoting my time towards collecting and creating all possible alibis. From my perspective, detectives who don't prepare anything before the outbreak of a crime, or the crime, are pretty third rate. After all, we all know that someone will die wherever we spend the night. Furthermore, at the time the crime was discovered, Erica confirmed that none of those seals had been broken. That's why Erica wasn't the first one to reach the cousin's room when the corpses were found. Even without inspecting the corpses, she could be certain of several things thanks to the red truth. It was more important to check the seals and construct alibis. My master is perfect. All I did was prove everything perfectly by following the master's orders. Well done, Erica, my double piece. My piece. What do you think, Linda? Does it disprove that Erica's lookout in the lounge contains absolute reliability as far as constructing alibis? There is no way to reach the second floor without passing through the lounge. Yeah, I acknowledge it. Erica, your seal is perfect. I'll acknowledge it in red. It was impossible to reach the second floor of the guest house without passing through the lounge. It is impossible to reach it all without Erica, who was in the lounge, knowing about it. Thank you very much, Lady Delta. So you know what's coming next, great Lady Beatrice. Therefore, the time of the crime was limited to a single hour between 24 and when they were confirmed to be alive and 1 a.m. when our party in the lounge started. Ugh. I've already said it, but at 24 o'clock I went down to the lounge, hit off with Dr. Nanjo, and was engrossed by discussion of Mr. John until library until 1 a.m. It's a bit embarrassing, but I grew up so wrapped up in that discussion that I wouldn't have noticed if anyone had passed through the corridor during that period. Quite a regretful mistake for a detective. After doing all that maneuvering and setting up seals to guarantee perfect alibis, she became too engrossed in a mystery discussion left an opening. Her relaxed smile was completely shameless, the total opposite of her words. It almost seems like it's the other way around. It's enough to make you think this was an intentional trap, to make it clear that only Natsuhi didn't have an alibi between 24 and 1. In other words, this paradoxically means this. The only ones who could have reached the cousin room and committed the crime are those characters who have no alibi between 24 and 1. Her eyes clearly hinted that Natsuhi was the only one who fit this description. It should have been a crime whose time and location were completely unknown during that long night, but because of alibis Erica constructed, it had been limited to the time period between 24 and 1. Erica left the cousin room at 24. That means the last confirmation that George and the others were alive. And after the party in the lounge started at 1, it was impossible to reach the cousin's room by any method. Damn her, and from a mere human, this is quite bad. The night has been sealed up into an hour, and at this rate there won't be many suspect pieces left. Damn it, Lady Birkenstall, nicely done. Unlike Battler, I'm not an idiot. After watching this game 5 times, I got more than enough cards in my hand. Hee hee. Then now let us continue. Let us examine all the alibis for the remaining suspects, the people in the mansion. After all, we only have to worry about the single hour between 24 and 1. That shouldn't be difficult at all. Let's start with 24 o'clock. At this time, Natsuhi, Cross, and Genji are in the second floor corridor, and all the others are in the first dining hall. This That's already been shown by the Master's Red. Yeah, that's right. At 24 o'clock, Natsuhi, Cross, and Genji were in the corridor on the second floor of the mansion. The rest of them were in the dining hall on the first floor, and as you know, there was a mysterious knock and a letter with the one wing seal on it appeared. The discussion surrounding that continued until 1. I will say it with the red truth. Of all the people in the dining hall, not one of them left the dining hall until 1. Excluding Natsuhi, Cross, and Genji, none of the people in the mansion left the mansion before 1. Since the possible times of the crime had been limited between 24 and 1, they had also in a friendly conference who were confirmed not to have left the mansion before 24 and 1, all have proven alibis. And how do you intend to prove that? Erica's in the guest house. Does someone prove it by using one of your favorite seals in the dining hall door? You have no convincing evidence or proof. The red truth is simply true, and there is no need to provide evidence, proof, or room for a counter-argument. You made that rule. This overbearing red truth had not only given alibis to adults in the dining hall, it also gave alibis to Shen and Kennen who had come to serve tea, and even guaranteed that they never left the dining hall. In other words, the only ones who didn't have proven alibis were these three, Natsuhi, Cross, and Genji. No, there were only 2 left. If Cross and Genji had their alibis proven, it proves that no one but Natsuhi could have been the culprit. Let's do Genji next. He's a victim, but he can deny the possibility that he committed the crime in the custody room and then killed himself. And furthermore, even though he was at the second floor corridor at 24 o'clock, he then returned to the server room to transfer the phone call for Natsuhi and was completely isolated. Which means it is possible for Genji to commit the... I'll say it in red. When Genji finished transferring the call, he immediately returned to the waiting room. That's just a cold, hard truth without any evidence, proof, seals, or alibis. Got it? Then at 1 a.m., there was another break-in at a family conference, and Rosa returned to the guest house. At that time, I'm truly thankful for your cooperation, Ushirami Iva-san. Please rise. Erika-chan wasn't the only one, okay? I was also certain that something would happen that night. She's the person who taught me how to make those seals, and she helped me to check the alibis of those people under suspicion. During that break, at 1 a.m., I went to Genji-san's waiting room and used the same seals Erika-chan. In other words, if that was a broken enemy, no one entered or left that room between 1 and the next morning. The murder of Genji was also limited to the span between 24 and 1. Now, Kennen-san and Kumasawa-san, please rise. Kennen rose expressionlessly, and Kumasawa got to her feet timidly. In the morning, you two went to wake Genji-san because he had something in right, and at that time, you noticed that the door was sealed, broke the seal, and opened the door, correct? Yes, I thought it was some kind of prank. I didn't think deeply about it at the time. I'm not asking for your opinion, just give us the facts. Did you break the seal into the room? Yes. With the red truth, I'll guarantee that Eva, Kennen, and Kumasawa's statements just know the truth. At 1 a.m., Eva sealed Genji's waiting room, and that seal was broken by Kennen and Kumasawa in the morning when that crime was discovered. This will be a pain, so I'll add on some more. During the short break at 1 a.m., the first 2 to leave the dining hall were Rosa and Eva. Until Eva returned, everyone in the dining hall remained there. After seeing Rosa off, Eva went to the waiting room and sealed it. Of course, she did not enter the room at all this time. This is all information gathered from the people involved. It isn't a red truth without a basis. It's a true due to proper reasoning constructed from testimony. Not only testimony, but the limits of scientific investigation, such as collecting fingerprints, were used here. After all, Kendall-san studies a treasure vault with all kinds of chemicals. I obtained all sorts of results to create an ultimate truth, infinitely close to a red truth. This isn't a science mystery, so I'll spare you the details. As Erika swaggered around the cathedral, she arrogantly touted her scientific knowledge. She had thorough knowledge of all the chemicals in Kendall's study and had used them to conduct a scientific investigation, which had now been acknowledged and made into a red truth by Birkenstow. She didn't explain the details, but she had obtained results that were convincing even without the red truth. Collecting fingerprints with aluminum powder, component analysis of the mud under someone's shoe, and various chemical reactions from the cleaning rainwater. Erika just walked into someone else's study several times and used several chemicals however she pleased, all without asking the family's permission. However, no one could fault her for this. The pieces couldn't hinder any action the detective might have taken for the investigation. That's the power of the detective's authority. You act like you own the place. From now on, I'll tell you everyone I meet. If someone claims to be a detective, never welcome them into your house as a guest. That's probably a good idea, giving shelter to a detective. It's just about the worst omen of misfortune out there. Because of this, it has been proven that it was only possible to reach Genji's waiting room and commit the crime between 24 and 1. And furthermore, by Erika's investigation, it has been proven that it was impossible for Genji to reach the cousin room. It had already been made clear in the red that after transferring the phone call to Natsuhi, Genji had gone straight back to the waiting room. And because of Erika's scientific investigation, further red had been added, saying Genji never left the mansion to 24. Because of this, it may be clear that Genji couldn't have reached the guest house, much less the cousin room. Genji had an alibi. Now only Cross and Natsuhi remain. Everyone else has their alibis proven, haven't they? Impossible. Natsuhi's mouth flapped open shut like a suffocating goldfish, and that's an accurate analogy. Natsuhi's mind was blank and spinning out of control, and she felt as though she really would suffocate. Assure me, Natsuhi, I'll to give you one last chance. Confess that all the crimes were work of your husband. Fool, do I look like the kind of woman who would falsely accuse her husband? Bito, Natsuhi's denied it. I'll give you the same chance. You understand, right? Or wait, don't tell me you aren't going to take advantage of the fact that Cross is missing to try and pull a devil's proof on me, are you? Was the crime also possible for Cross, who was in the mansion? Ugh. Bito realized that they were rapidly approaching the end of this battle. Normally, Bito should have been able to argue against these alibis of Erika's in several ways using the blue truth. However, all those alibis have been accepted by Burkistal Lady and Lambda Delta as red truth, and Bito no longer had any room to argue. It's like those witches are distorting things so that they match with the plotline Erika has drawn up. That's right. If the Game Master Lady and the Delta accepts the truth, it authentically will not be questioned. The world that comes after will be formed based on the final remaining truth. This happens no matter how far this final truth is from the real truth. There's no way Uncle Cross is to cooperate. He's being held prisoner somewhere. But wait, we can't deny the possibility that Natsui was skillfully tricked into believing that during the phone call. Do you suspect Natsui and Cross Battler-kun? Well, Erika's truth had been constructed in a cowardly fashion, but it is a proper truth. Though the witches did conspire with her, it has still been acknowledged as red truth. In other words, it cannot be a fake truth, but solely on lies. This means that even Erika's truth is supported by logic. The truth about Natsui and Cross being culprits is also very possible. Even if it's a mixture of truth and lies, it makes sense logically. It's a mixture of truth and lies that's just as valuable as truth is. Which one of those truths will you believe? That's up to you to decide. No, I'll trust that Natsui and Uncle Cross. I realize that they're in some money trouble, but even so, I don't want to believe that they're the culprits. No, I can't believe it. On this game board where the red is steadily governor Natsuhi, how do you intend to let her escape? I don't know. However, I seriously don't want to give up. And Natsui just caught up in a cowardly trap. Erika's reason has fallen for that trap completely. So whether it's intentional or she's being manipulated, Erika is hitting the true culprit. Erika had accused Natsui for being the culprit, but even if everyone here believes that, in fact, for that very reason, I want to be the one person who trusts Natsuhi. If everyone believes it's her, will that become the truth? If everyone accepts a lie, will that become the truth? Must an honest person be dragged up into the guillotine all alone and taunted by liars? I don't like it. If anyone else will believe Natsuhi, then I will. The real truth is something that's determined when everyone accepts it. It's something that you find only thoroughly investigating both possibilities. So this trial is a downright lie. This trial exists for no other reason than to set up Natsuhi up as a culprit. Bito's doing all she can to plead Natsuhi's case, right? Wrong. Bito's trying to refute Erika's argument. She was just defending. You can't fight in this trial by simply resisting all your opponent's claims. This is why Bito always cornered me in the past. She isn't going to be Erika by finding flaws in her reasoning. She has to find a different truth and show Lady in the Delta, the commander of this game, that her truth is more correct than Erika's. Can anyone create a truth where Natsuhi isn't the culprit without violating the red truth that Lady Burkistal has shown? I don't know. But as long as I don't believe that Natsuhi is the culprit, there's got to be a different truth. It's even okay if the culprit for the crime was a witch. That's better than having Natsuhi be framed by an incorrect truth. So no matter how much red truth you are shown, you won't believe that Natsuhi is the culprit, correct? Yeah, for all the things, there should always be some people who believe and some who don't. No matter how much evidence is stacked up against her, someone has to believe that she's innocent. There must be several truths of the world that cannot be proven with evidence. I don't ever want to accept that something is true just because everyone says it is. How can anybody sure that there's nothing on the backside of the moon? You've never seen it. Is there some reason that you have to believe it until you see the back of the moon with your own eyes? You can deny neither the possibility that there's nothing there at all, nor the possibility that there's a thriving culture of space bunnies. You should never assume something is the truth until you actually check it. This court is a malicious thing trying to force a single interpretation on a truth that cannot be checked. I believe there was a civilization on the back of the moon, but that was an elementary school and I was made fun of and laughed at, so I thought it was embarrassing to think a civilization lived on the moon, and I threw it away, that belief. I've been told by a book and my mom read me that rabbits lived on the backside of the moon, so I believed that for a long, long time, but when everyone said it was wrong, I abandoned the truth without even trying to check it. But even without evidence, I abandoned the truth I believed in. And now everyone is starting to believe that Natsuhi is the culprit, even though no decisive evidence has been shown. Even without evidence, Erica's words sound reasonable, so they're probably the truth. Is that why you're throwing away your belief that Natsuhi is innocent despite a lack of proof? And no one else will believe it, then I will. I believe that the real truth only appears if you look with both eyes, one denying and one affirming. No matter how much he tries to make us believe that Natsuhi is the culprit, I believe she isn't. I won't abandon that belief. Understood, then I will give you just a single rare truth. I will give this single bit of power to you now that you possess the will to fight the true sins. Power. By the name of the infinite witch Virgilia, no, as a former witch Beatrice, I will grant you this rare truth. Ushumi and Natsuhi is not the culprit. A plea bargain. If you acknowledge that Cross is the culprit, Erica will suspend her pursuit of Natsuhi. From then on, the investigation will proceed assuming that Cross, whose location is unknown, is the culprit. What will you do, Beato? At this rate, Natsuhi's in serious trouble, right? Will you accept the plea bargain? If you're willing to bend in this issue, me a family honor thing burning, I'll be kind enough to let you get off with a draw, okay? Cross is currently missing, and I know whether he's alive or dead. Like Kinzo, he's so different than a cat in a box that disappeared into the midst of the island. A cat inside a box is unfixed, and no interpretation of it can be denied. It is the root of an endless interpretations, the true source of the endless witch's power. In other words, no matter how much Birkenstock claims that Cross is the culprit, she can't make that sole truth. In other words, the cross-culprit theory and the witch theory could be almost perfect balance. It would mean making the game a draw. This was cajolery? I don't know. Offering her a second chance if she abandons the honor of the family she swore to protect and consents to a fragment that stomps all over that honor. There is no room for false confidence, for Beato loses to die. In this game, she always chose a draw unless she has an overwhelming advantage. I won't allow you to treat my husband like the culprit. My husband is the successor to the Ushumi family headship. The only person who will inherit the glory of the Ushumi family. I will never let you treat him like a criminal. Are you sure, Natsuhi? If you refuse to suspect Cross, then you'll be the only one left. All advice have been proven for everyone else. In other words, Himple's Raven. Even without any evidence, it will be determined that you are the culprit. And if I'm the only one left, what then? When I am Ushumi and Natsuhi, I will not run or hide. I am innocent, and I am the representative of the noble head with the one-winged eagle engraved into my heart. If you wish to insult me, go ahead. If you wish to ridicule me, do as you please. No one can damage my honor with a mixture of truth and lies. With a dignified voice, Natsuhi stated her case openly before the witches above her. However, this response of hers might have been exactly what Birkenstock had intended. Natsuhi refuses to deal, and you, Beato? You understand, right? The innocent Natsuhi is specified as the culprit. Lambda will make her verdict. As soon as this happens, the illusion of the witch will be denied, and you'll disappear into the mist. Do you plan to let Natsuhi's foolish bragging drag you down to the depths of hell? O'Shea, you fought well. This is our chance. Crevice Natsuhi and try to work out a compromise. Both Lady Lambda Delta and Lady Birkenstock board on you as their true enemy. They probably won't to have this game repeat and play some more. If they see you're willing to make a concession, they'll most likely accept it gladly and move on to the next game. If we move on to the next game, then what will happen to Natsuhi of this game and the Natsuhi of this fragment? Now isn't the time to be worrying about that, right? Natsuhi is just a piece. And if she gets removed from the game, she'll show up again in the next one. But that doesn't apply to you, my lady. I believe you know what Lady Birkenstock plans for this game. It's a more realistic goal to make use of that and aim for victory in the next game instead. Accepting Lady Birkenstock's deal might be our one and only good option right now. Throw away that useless pride of yours. Neither Kasparov nor deeply won every game. The person that wins more games wins in the end, right? If a witch gets too attached to a single match, a single life, a single piece, that witch dies. My apologies, but I cannot do that. I know the strength of a man who believed even though everyone said he was wrong. And I didn't mean to skip that. I want to abandon Natsuhi. Why? Because if anyone else suspects Natsuhi, then someone has to believe in her. Because the truth can only be found in the gap between those who doubt and those who believe. I won't abandon her. Even if anyone else believes that Natsuhi is the culprit, I will still claim that either witch and the culprit. Even if I can't make the claim, my existence isn't worth anything. I cannot lose. The truth is something anyone gets to deny. Only when you doubt and abandon it yourself, it disappears. Is that your answer, Bieto? Yeah, of course I refuse. Ushimiya Cross is not the culprit. Ushimiya Cross is not the culprit. Okay, the last one is, was the crime possible for the people in the mansion besides Natsuhi? Fool, I won't let you take that back, okay? Here's what you get for being a quick-tempered moron. By the name of Burkistel, Witch of Miracles, I speak with the red truth. Ushimiya Cross is not the culprit, and he was killed long ago, shortly after you heard this voice over the phone. Get it? No, dear. Burkistel's cruel and ruthless red blade gouged Natsuhi. It was totally merciless. Natsuhi had been crushed with uncertainty, not knowing whether Cross was alive or dead. But she had still been capable of believing that he was alive, and now that hope, that expectation had been crushed without any chance for a miracle. She had been thrown herself into this trap out of concern for her husband's safety. She had now lost her daughter and husband and everything she had gained since marrying into the Ushimiya family. No, even after all this, one thing still remains. If her husband has been lost, and right now she is the last person who could protect the honor of the Ushimiya family, she still couldn't let it end here. Even wrapped up in so much sadness, Natsuhi would do all she could to protect that honor with his final bit of strength. Nope, it's all over. It's been determined with the red truth that none of the remaining people in the dining hall left the room until 1. In other words, alibis have already been proven for everyone except Natsuhi. Oh, anyone had an alibi. Okay. Well done, Erika and Burkistel. You've fully proven that the crime was impossible for everyone except Ushimiya and Natsuhi. Why don't I start reading up aloud from the verdict? At 24, on October 4th, 1986, the defendant Ushimiya and Natsuhi left before the others while pretending to return to her room to sleep and murdered George Chiska, Mariah, Rose, and Genji one after another during that 1 hour period before 1 a.m. Let me tack something on. Due to circumstantial evidence, include the murder of Cross. Yeah, that's right. And this situation is unthinkable that anyone except Natsuhi could kill Cross. A revision to the verdict. During the 1 hour before 1 a.m., Cross, George, Chiska, Mariah, Rose, and Genji were killed one after another. It's only possible for any of these murders to have taken place between 24 and 1. The only person without an alibi during this time was Ushimiya Natsuhi. From this point forward, the defendant will be treated as the true culprit. Furthermore, because it has only been fully proven that the crime was possible for humans, Beatrice, Endless Witch, this court of illusions hereby denies your existence. You'll be given a chance to plead your case, but you could be proven an alibi for Natsuhi, or you could prove that it was possible for someone other than Natsuhi. If you could do that, Natsuhi will stop at being one shade short of absolutely guilty, and the denial of your existence will be put on hold for this game. If Natsuhi has an alibi, Bito would have shown it long ago. In fact, was it the whole point of that trap to make her lose her alibi? Even if her alibi is still proven, I will believe in Natsuhi's innocence, no matter how much you try to pin your fake truth on her. I am the true culprit. Natsuhi is innocent, even without any proof. The truth is known only by the Master of the Night on this island, Beatrice the Golden. I am Ushimiya Natsuhi. Now that my husband has passed away, I am the head of the Ushimiya family. My determination will not bend, no matter how you try to humiliate me. Why you ask is because Father gave me the permission to grave the family crest of the one-winged eagle into my heart. How do you intend to disprove the existence of the honor with your evidence and your alibis? You cannot. The Ushimiya family crest engraved into my heart is immortal. Now that Natsuhi and Beatrice had practically been placed on the guillotine, they cried out with all the strength of their determination. However, that did nothing but bring a cold smile to Lambda Delta's face. Erica constructed a truth that Lambda Delta could accept, and no one could construct a more convincing truth to deny Erica's. In that case, the most convincing truth would swallow up everything else and become the one and only truth. Even if it happened to be different from the real truth, the truth of those in the past is swallowed up by the truth of those in the future. This could happen even for a mixture of truth and lies, as long as anyone acknowledges it as true. She, stop howling already. I like it best so once you stop and back to their lives when they're about to be burned at the stake. When they try to bluff like you do is such a killjoy. In the case I'll send you one final gift. A red truth to smash that bluff wide open. But what do you mean? Stop it, Lady Barkistow. Has it already been overwritten with the truth you wished for? That the truth and Natsuhi should be able to coexist. Please don't follow it, please. Natsuhi, when did Kenzo ever say it was okay for you to engrave the one-winged eagle into your heart? Those were just the words of the Kenzo from your delusions, weren't they? You know the real Kenzo. Not once in his entire life did he ever trust you from the bottom of his heart, and not once did he ever consider letting you bear the family crest. When that heartless announcement was made, Kenzo stood up. Natsuhi, you need not listen to this. No one can defile the crest engraved in your heart. That is yours alone. Don't let your pride as the family head ever be forgotten. Natsuhi... Just shut up and disappear, you miserable delusion, Natsuhi's. No, you cannot erase me, you cannot erase my soul, not as long as the crest is engraved into Natsuhi's heart. That's enough, you lying illusion. The real Kenzo wouldn't say that. Disappear. You, the illusion of the Kenzo inside Natsuhi's mind, beautified by Natsuhi to suit her own purposes. Natsuhi. A bright red flash of lightning smashed Kenzo over and over again as he screamed. Then he crumpled like a doll and sat back down in his chair as though nothing had happened. The fierce emotion had left Kenzo's face. He had truly become like a wax model, and so he would never again share kind words with Natsuhi. That's right. The true Kenzo never once trusted Natsuhi during his entire life. The true Kenzo never once considered allowing Natsuhi to bear the one-winged eagle, because of course Kenzo had already finished before the start of the game. The Kenzo that appears in this game is nothing more than Natsuhi's delusion. Every part of this Kenzo believed in Natsuhi and entrusted her protecting the family honor was a phantom created by Natsuhi. Pitiful woman, you will now face the truth that you never gained Ushamiya Kenzo's trust as long as he lived. But what? Natsuhi, don't cry. Kenzo entrusted the Ushamiya family to you, right? No, he didn't. Not only did he not entrust her with that, he never even said hello or met her gaze even once. Natsuhi's cry was a mixture of sadness and many other emotions, and it echoed throughout the cathedral. Natsuhi could no longer stop her tears. Some last faint element that had cheered her up until today, that had allowed her to endure as an Ushamiya, as the wife to the head's representative, and as the final family head, had been torn to bits. Natsuhi no longer had anything left. Natsuhi could no longer allow herself to even call herself an Ushamiya. Those difficult days, those painful days, those days where she still gave everything she could for a family she married into despite it all. There were very few happy days among these. All these flitted through her mind, one after another, and disappeared. All those once beautiful memories were then crushed by Birkenstone's red truth, smashed to bits and scattered, plunged into her hands, and smeared red with mournful blood. It was the red of sadness and truth. That is all, just because a crime exists as it does. This level of reasoning is possible for Furuto Erica. What do you think, everyone? Lambda Delta clapped. Then, a little bit later, Birkenstone also clapped, looking pleased. The expressionless wax figure-like audience followed suit, and then the unshakable verdict was welcomed with a great applause. And so the truth of this tale was decided. Right now, no humans exist on this island except for those in the parlor, and with those exceptions, it has been shown that none of them have committed murder, and the culprit amongst these people. Whoa, in that case, it's conclusive, isn't it? Unless the culprit is a witch who committed murder with magic, that is. It was you? You killed George, killed my husband, why? Why? I didn't kill anyone, I didn't. Anna panicked with a voice that was far from calm, in a manner that was, to put it coldly, unsettling, and Natsui denied the suspicion placed upon her. However, there was no longer any way around it. She stood up, brushed her back her long hair, pointed at Natsui, and said it one more time. You're the culprit, and you show me a Natsui-san. Red face, a tear streaked, Eva walked up to Natsui and grabbed her by the collar. Then wordlessly she slapped Natsui's cheek. Natsui had never been slapped in her life, was shocked by the taste of iron which she was feeling for the first time. She turned to a scuffle between Eva and Natsuhi. Valor immediately tried to stop them, but Eva planted a sharp knee into Valor's gut and he doubled over. Give back my George and my husband. Why did you kill them? You murderer. Sobbing, Eva kicked Natsuhi who had fallen to the ground over and over. Valor tried once more to cut and stop them, but he was brushed aside. And after that, no one tried to stop them. Repeating her son and husband's name over and over, Eva kicked Natsui and kicked her. She then started grabbing whatever her eyes fell upon and throwing it. Natsui was hit with a steaming teacup, and a can of black tea whose tea leaves fell out all over her. She was kicked, her hair pulled and dragged up, her cheeks slapped so many times that it started to swell. No one tried to stop it. It wasn't because they were worried about Eva kicking them too. It was because they thought it was an appropriate act of retribution for a person that lost her beloved son and husband. A proper retribution, a proper truth. Everyone in the parlor accepted that Natsui was the culprit. They accepted the truth Erika claimed. So it became a proper truth, and Natsui was designated as the proper culprit. She had already lost a husband and daughter who might have protected her. And even Kenzo, who should have given her a final bit of strength, had already vanished like a bubble in the ocean of illusions. No longer would anyone protect her. No longer would anyone believe her. And she was now the true culprit. Eva's shoulders heaved her with heavy breathing, and apparently her angle still hadn't updated. Erika patted her shoulder and made Eva take a step back. Of course, this was to protect Natsui from violence. It was to further humiliate Natsui now that she had been branded as the culprit. Natsui-san, I solved two of the three riddles. The who done it and the how done it. The final riddle, the why done it, must always be confessed by the culprit herself. Please follow the rules of mystery genre and confess. The why done it refers to the motive. If this is a third-rate mystery, you would let out a high-pitched laugh about now and confess to the crime and start telling the true story, telling the story of her sad past. Don't tell me you intend to make me explain that part as well. I am not the culprit, someone believe me. I just have my husband taken hostages, starting to fall into a trap. Now see with her hair a mess blah blah blah. Now see with her hair a mess in her face, red and tear streaked, protested to everyone, but no one met her gaze. You guys had already been resolved that Natsui was the culprit. Because Lambda Delta acknowledged that the culprit of the tale was Natsui and woven it that way, none of the pieces would play any heed to Natsui to the culprit's words. Natsui is the culprit. I am the Golden Witch Beatrice. I am the one who commands Rokanjima's night, and the one Rokanjima's night, and who has resigned since long before the time you were all still scared of the dark. Why can't you just call it my sin? Why must you suspect Natsui? Acknowledge me. I committed all the crimes. There's no way human is the culprit. The illusion of the witch had already been crushed, and Beatrice's voice didn't reach anyone. The verdict had already been made. Everything had been decided. No one can hear you. You're a phantom, a mere illusion. Go back to being a simple portrait. You're a faint phantom of a witch, born when Kenzo shared his illusion with relatives. That is the truth chosen by this world. So great Lady Lambda Delta, now is the time for you to bury the ridiculous and foolish illusion that this witch claims is the truth. Goodbye, Beatrice. I made you a witch expecting that you'd either become my friend or help me distract from my boredom, and you've answered to my expectations. The second one, that is. I am a witch. Even if Lady Lambda Delta doesn't acknowledge it, I'm a witch. Go, sure, but you wouldn't even be capable of believing that if I hadn't become your guardian in the first place. Yep, this is game over for you. You'll be buried in accordance with the rules of your games board. What happens to losers in your game board again? Bito has already shown clearly in a previous game. You get made into a mountain of living flesh before being tossed into the ghost dinner party and chewed up to bits. Now there's a fitting end for you, Beatrice, and I did come all the way here just to hear the death cries of one as haughty as you. One by one, a massive number of goat attendants slipped out from the shadows of the pillars to begin to fill the cathedral. The ghost paid no attention to Natsuhi, who was seated in the center, but the crowd completely enveloped her. From Bito's point of view upon the balcony, it probably looked like a huge boiling pot of goats. That's right, the contract has been like this since the beginning. Yep, our contract said that whenever you stopped entertaining me, you would relieve me of my boredom with your life. Come, strip the title of witch from this woman and throw her into a pot of goats. Suddenly, there was a ghost standing right behind Bito. They lifted her up roughly. Let me hear some nice screams. You're the one I've been fermenting all this time. Then perhaps refusing. Oops, damn, I keep skipping shit. Yeah, I made her say that. Yeah. The best screams always come from a girl who just says a tired line like that. Fall. Beatrice. The ghost carrying Bito no longer viewed her as the master. After holding her above the pot of clamoring ghosts, which were snoring heavily in anticipation, they threw Bito's slender body into the air. All at once, the squirming ghosts faced the heavens and raised their arms. It was almost as though they would be able to forget their pain just for a short while by devouring her flesh. As she flew through the air, Bito tried to smile boldly, but it was so stiff that it seemed even more pathetic, too much for Costello's amusement. When Bito fell into the pot, the goats caught her. Of course, they didn't do it gently. The arms of countless goats pulled at her flesh to keep it for themselves. They tried to tear her to bits. It didn't have to be flesh. Her fingernails, shoes, even bits of her dress worked just fine. The mouths of those goats were the gateway into hell. However, Bito was too big to enter that gateway, so they had to chew and tear her into bits small enough to fit. Bito let out a bold laugh. She left from the inside of the pot of goats. However, her expression was very different from the one she had wanted. It is the expression not of a witch, but of a single human yelling in her death throes. Then the sea of ghosts parted. Delinar leapt forward, slicing all the ghosts in her path with a single flash of her long sword. It was clean sliced like cutting through butter. The ghosts were surprised by Delinar's sudden appearance and stepped back. Instead, our Beatrice cowered in tatters, sobbing. What's this supposed to be, Delinar, Inquisitor of the Heresy? My apologies, but I have something to say. There is someone who has an objection to this ruling. His name is Ushamiya Battler. All the ghosts stared at Battler. What is this unsatisfactory about the court's ruling? Do you possess any new evidence or truth sufficient to request a retrial? Gah. I get it. Delinar's offering me a helping hand. If she hadn't jumped in here, it'd be all over. And now I fully understand how I'm supposed to fight. But because I understand how I am unable to fight right now, after all, I can't win by simply encountering Erica's truth. If I want to deny her truth, I'll present a different one. I still don't have a clue what that truth is. There is something that is not healed with time, and there is no truth that cannot be reached if you spend enough time searching. However, all trials have a limited time in which the truth must be decided. Therefore, a truth that cannot be reached within that limited time cannot become truth. Yeah, I know that. Now, by now, everyone is certain that Natsuhi is the culprit. It might be too late now, even for the real truth. And even violence will probably go unstopped, and no one is even thinking about protecting that Natsuhi. It's no longer a situation where we can say, oh, the truth will eventually be found. And in this world, the time remaining to expose the truth is very short. It's already 24 at the game's end. The police won't come, the truth won't be revealed. Only the truth decided upon here or now will remain. I slowly stood up, walked in front of Bito, and faced Delinar. I have no plan. I don't know the truth. However, if I don't jump in now, I won't get another chance to fight. The red used by Erica's group is mercilessly strict. I seriously thought I could put together a truth where Natsuhi isn't the culprit without violating that red. Why the uncertain face? How pathetic. Damn it. Battler. I'll be the one to kill you. I want to keep that promise. And yet, right now, I don't have any plan at all. That's okay. In this world, there is no truth. The truth is made later on and overpriced that comes before it. The real truth doesn't exist anywhere. And now this is splendid scenario, Delanar. It just wouldn't be interesting unless a knight appears before the prince's execution. And there's nothing better than watching heads roll before your very eyes. Erase the old piece and now I need to play her all in one go. As you wish, glory to be the lady, to the great Lady Birkenstow. I am the head Inquisitor Hersey of Delanar A. Nox. Step forward, usher me a battler. Damn it, I got nothing more to lose. If you want to see me struggle, I'll show you. The only reason Erica's theory is so strong is because of those seals. She was given red so quickly just because Lady Delta easily bought the alibis created by those seals. But the seals aren't red truth, just sticky paper in a door crack is far from perfect. There's no way something like that can prove anything with certainty. Begin, battler, ready to let those ghosts turn you into Apollo meat along with your beloved Beatrice. Oh, and I'll mix leftovers with my precious sister into that pile. Wouldn't that make for a wonderful stack of meat? Then we can wrap it up in the dumpling, steam it, and maybe add some soy sauce. No, the best way would be to fry them in a pan with some egg and ketchup. Ha ha ha. Damn it. Can't we doubt the reliability of the seals of Erica? Something like whited James with some paper in a door can't create a perfect alibi. It might be that someone noticed by chance and happened to put it back in the same place. The blade of blue truth should have slashed diagonally through Delanar's chest. However, Delanar's expression didn't budge in the slightest, and there wasn't a single wound on his chest. I was wondering what you thought out there, but this is ridiculous. Allow me to explain. This is what I sealed the doors with. Did you think this is paper for Battler's son? Erica once again held up the thing that looked like brown paper. This is packing tape, and adhesive power is extremely strong. I used scissors to make it easier to tear. Furthermore, I wrote my signature, which cannot be reproduced in the 3 places: across the tear point, and across the edge between the door and the tape, and across the edge between the tape and the door frame. Therefore, it's impossible to tear it off without leaving a mark, and impossible to reattach to. And permission to achieve the red key. Granted. Due to the above, the seals are guaranteed to be perfect. Miss Erica's seals were not broken by anyone, and deception is impossible. I'll acknowledge Erica's seals, however, and Eva's seal in the Gitch's room should be different. Eva's seal was the same type as Miss Erica's. That's because its method of sealing was one that Miss Erica and Eva conceived of together after dinner. Erica insisted about a scientific investigation. It fished through the chemicals in Grandfather's room, right? There might have been some kind of solvent in there. If you use that, you might be able to tear off the packing tape without leaving fingernail marks. Please allow me to speak. It is impossible to tear off any of the seals by any method without leaving marks. Please allow me to speak. There were no suspicious marks on any of the seals. Therefore, it's proven that nothing was done to any of these seals. Repeat it. Yes, gladly. All of Erica's and Eva's seals were not tampered with in any way that hindered their ability to act as seals, such as being scraped off. Damn it. Damn you, easy packing tape that leaves marks all over the place. Delanar isn't my only enemy. There's also her subordinates Gertrude and Cornelia, and also Erica and her master Birkenstow. Even Linda Delta, the one who hijacked Vito's game, everyone in this cathedral is an enemy. That fierce rush of red immediately repelled my feeble truth. It's obvious why. I don't have any alternate truth. Even at this final stage, I have nothing. Were the seals all you had to discuss? You promised to give it everything you've got. If only I knew the truth, that could prove I know Sue's innocence. If I could only make a theory that moves its way through Erica's red. Damn it, I don't know anything. Do you have any chance of winning? I looked at that home. Mind if I go back and get it? I've already lost and prepared for my fate. I promise that I'd kill you, so I won't let anyone else do it. I'll definitely keep that promise. Liar. I'll never trust your promises again. Huh? When did I ever make a promise to you, and what was the lie? Hehehe. After hearing you say that, hell might not be so bad. Kill us, Birkenstow, Lambda Delta. Yeah. Vito let a show cry overcome with laughter. It was a broken laugh and tears streamed down her cheeks. Balor's words would no longer reach her ears. She kept on laughing and saying like a broken record. Is it over? Pitiful. I truly am disappointed in Usha, battler. Yeah. Kill me, Delana, or slice me in half with that red long sword of yours. Yeah. Let's assume that there is some method X that can lead someone to the second floor of the guest house without passing through the lounge. Erica claims that the windows of such were sealed, but she can prove that she sealed all possible means of entry. There's just a possibility that Erica was unable to seal entrance X because she couldn't find it. Noxus third is forbidden for hidden passages to exist. As the detective, Ms. Erica sealed all the entrances. Passages that the detective cannot find are hidden passages. Therefore, there are no entrances that Ms. Erica cannot find. I present the possibility that Erica's lookout in the lounge was imperfect. During the 2 hours Erica spent there, she really observed everything without looking away for a second. It might be possible for someone to pass through the lounge during a small gap without at least Erica seeing them. Please allow me to speak. Lady Erica's lookout in the lounges was perfect. There was no small gaps or carelessness or times when she looked away even for a second. Please allow me to speak. Therefore, during their entire meeting in the lounge, only Rosa went up on the second floor. But it was that really Ann Rosa herself. There is a possibility that someone disguised himself as Ann Rosa, or maybe she was actually holding a large suitcase with someone hiding inside it. Noxus 10 is forbidden for a character to disguise themselves as another without any clues. There have been no hints suggesting that someone had disguised himself as Rosa. Furthermore, Erica has confirmed that she wasn't carrying any luggage large enough to hide a human in. And she was being threatened by someone. The uninvited unknown guest X is the true culprit. How can you be sure there are only ones on this island? The true culprit is someone else. Nox's list, first, it is forbidden for the culprit to be anyone not mentioned in the early part of this story. Maybe they were killed with poison and remote murder, along with a strange drug that could be cut and pierce someone's neck when they die. That type of murder has a delayed effect, so even with an alibi. Nox's fourth, it is forbidden for unknown drugs or hard to understand scientific devices to be used. There's a chance that there existed a murder device X in the custody room in Gigi's son's waiting room that made a remote murder possible. It had some secret mechanism that still hasn't been discovered, and Nox's eighth, it is forbidden for the case to be resolved with clues that are not presented. Anyway, there exists a culprit other than Natsuhi. If you would deny that, try and repeat that I read, and none of the apparent characters were the culprit. Noxus 6, it is forbidden for accident or intuition to be employed as a detective technique. You say that anyone except Natsuhi has an alibi. You're forgetting one person. Who's gonna prove that Erica herself has an alibi? Noxus 7, it is forbidden for the detective to be the culprit. Unless she is caught red-handed, you should never be able to deny the possibility that Natsuhi is innocent. Can you even deny future possibilities like a piece of evidence X that Erica had to discover proves that Natsuhi's innocence? Nox's 8th, it is forbidden for the case to be resolved with clues that are not presented. That this tale was full of malicious lies. The tale itself has become a trap to capture Natsuhi. The tale should be constructed only from impartial truths. Nox's 9th, it is permitted for observers to let their own conclusions and explanations be heard. I was the culprit, so I gave George and the others a slow active poison to make them die after 24. Then suddenly slit their throats when I returned at 3 a.m. I gave them so quietly that Erica wouldn't hear. Nox's 8th, it is forbidden for the case to be resolved with clues that are not presented. Everyone committed suicide, so there is no culprit. Please allow me to speak. All victims' deaths were homicides. Erica didn't personally examine the corpses, right? It should be possible. It should be possible for people who aren't the detective to make a mistake with it when examining corpses. Please allow me to speak. Know that no examination of the corpses could have been mistaken. Then maybe they were body double corpses. They prepared corpses beforehand that closely resemble the victims. Know that no corpse exists except those of the characters who have appeared in the story. Then how can he claim that Uncle Cross is dead without his corpse? Doesn't that violate an ox or something or whatever? Know that the red truth is simply truth, that there's no need to provide evidence or proof. What the damn it? In the face of these insane arguments, any attempts to overturn the truth for Anatsui's treated as a culprit are completely meaningless. Each time I brandished my blue truce, the lantern and the other red truce knocked me down to the floor. It was getting hard to even stand back up again. Does that mean my body is telling me that I'm about to surrender to the truth and not so used to culprit? The red truth is getting more and more perfect. Each time I think I can slip through a chink in their armor, the lantern sucks me down with the red longsword of Nox. Yeah. Beato. That's enough, Battler. Now the endless torture that torments me, no us, will finally end. Let us fall together into the depths. Gugh. I don't want to see Beato like this. Her Majesty has relived the Golden Lantern, and through this years, unless my rebel were completely gone. She's just a pitiful woman who's been trampled over and lost all hope, with tears streaming down her face, and a jagged smile I can't bear to look at. Does your truth no longer exist? No, I have one last thing. And that is if the truth or Natsui isn't the culprit. That's not it. All I can do is prove that Natsui isn't the culprit. After that, I can't show what the real truth is at all. But even so, maybe you at least you'll save that. Okay, wait. But even so, maybe at least she'll be saved that way. Why? I can show without a doubt that Natsui isn't the culprit. However, I cannot show a different truth. If Erica's truth is dispersed, the crown will return to darkness, and there might still be room for you to exist. Yeah, if you can do it. Oh, I need to take a drink of apple juice. But if you can show a new truth, that means you're incompetent and useless as a player. All of you vanished from this game or for all eternity. At this point, the Game Master is on the Delta, and she is there too. This probably doesn't mean I'm losing a single game, but being banished from this game for all eternity for losing. For what the witches have said in the past, I can faintly imagine that the place pieces are insane. When they're banished, it's known as the depths of oblivion, an eternal darkness that lies on the far side of an eternal oblivion, and where there is no concept of life or death. I'm going to disappear, aren't I? However, Beato will remain, and as long as Beato remains, no matter how suspicious Anatsuhi is, there will always be remaining space for the witch to be the culprit. In other words, room for Anatsuhi to not be the culprit. As long as that space exists, someone will eventually expose the truth. It doesn't have to be me. Anyway, eventually someone will smash this fake truth to pieces. I understood that the time had come to depend on myself for the sake of this other person who would eventually appear, for the sake of the real truth. Well, it looks like I'll have to break my promise to kill you after all. Don't leave me as the only one alive. I'll disappear with you. Let that be your final tribute to me. I beg you, if you choose this one thing, I don't need anything else. Have you used up everything you have? I really am disappointed in you. Show me a battler. Quickly perform Mr. Queen. That way I'll have an open field in which you expose Natsuhi's son's sin. These guys really are interesting, Beatrice. You show me a battler. But I've gotten tired of this. You aren't needed in our game. Do it, Delana. This is the end. If you still have one last bit of power, let me see you muster it now in your last moments. Yeah. It's small, but it's a sparkly red truth. The last trump card Virgilia gave me. Erica, this takes back your theory back to square one. If you can, why not go ahead? Take this. It was showing that's who you thought to call for it. The red truth is simply truth without evidence or proof if needed. This will make the Leonard stagger. Even if that is all it does, it's just first and last strike I can make. Nox's second. It's forbidden for a supernatural agency to be employed as a detective technique. Huh? My red truth was blown away by Leonard's long sword. In this court, if anyone other than witches is going to speak to Red Truth, they'll have to construct an appropriate proof for it. Erica has been following this procedure, right? True, Erica has used to read herself even what so far. She's always had Burkestone or witch repeat her statements. Your Red Truth isn't something you obtain for yourself. It's a supernatural truth given by a paranormal being. In other words, it isn't a reasoning. It is no better than a random thought. In that case, if I have Virgilia say the same Red Truth, where is Virgilia? If you are present, the Red Truth, you must construct an appropriate argument. Can you do that? No, it's impossible. If you just have the Red Truth attitude, it's the culprit without any basis or evidence. See, real truth is a very fragile thing. Does real truth even exist? Is it necessary, even without it, the tale will continue on, Battler? Come on, Battler, prove that you have shown. If you cannot, this is goodbye. Then goodbye. Sorry, Beato. Don't say that. Thanks for sticking around with me. It was such a bloodstained tale, but it was fun. The trial is now finished. Finished. Sentenced to death. With that, the trial for the fifth game ended. Detective Furuto Erica accused the culprit Ushimi Natsuhi. There are three riddles that the detective must explain. The first is who done it, who is the culprit. As previously stated, it is Ushimi and Natsuhi. The second is the how done it, how did they carry out the crime. During the hour between 24 and on October 4th, 1986, at 1 a.m. the next day, 1 a.m. I guess. Okay. And Ushimi Natsuhi went to the custody room on the second floor of the guest house and the server at 1 a.m. on the first floor of the mansion. There she carried out the murders. It is only possible for the crime to have taken place during that hour, and for that 1 hour, alibis have been proven for all characters except Natsuhi. From the sky, a massive red longsword, even greater in size than one Delano had held, came crashing down like a thunderbolt, piercing through Battler's heart and putting him in place while he stood still. While he still stood. In that instant, Beatrice became a golden splash and faded away, and her former minions disappeared as well. As Heartless Witch looks down on the cathedral cinder, laughing coldly, all that remained was Battler with a red longsword sticking through him and Delanard. Rest in peace, Ushimi Battler. What a shame. I thought you were a more capable person than this. Ugh. Battler blew bubbles of blood, closed his eyes slowly, and died. Delanard stared on in silence and then turned on her heels when she saw his life leave him. After that, all that remained was the corpse of this sorrowful man pierced by the sword that acted as a massive red grave marker and lit by the faint glow that in from the cathedral skylight. And then there is the third riddle. The detective must uncover the final riddle, the why done it. Why did they commit the crime? The motive. In the third great mystery, there's no need to uncover this. After all, even if you don't expose the motive, the culprit will just confess it when all's said and done. However, Furuto Erica was first rate, so she would expose even this. Natsu was being confined in the parlor under everyone's watchful gazes, and Erica made use of everyone to diligently and persistently search all places, even Natsuhi's room, for clues about her motive. Well, now that we have all gathered, just what is this that drum Ushimi and Natsuhi to on the crime, these terrible murders? Through my investigation, I, the detective Furuto Erica, discovered the general outline that explains this. I would like to announce it now. However, anyone remained silent, urging her to continue. Erica tossed some of Natsui's possessions that had been confiscated onto the table. First, there are these past diaries that were discovered in Natsui's son's room. They've barely been used at all in recent years, but they describe in detail the period shortly after she became part of Ushiomi's family. Most of them were locked, but in order to find the full truth beyond this crime I used by authority, which everyone has acknowledged, to destroy the locks on all of them. How barbaric, reading another person's diary. Barbaric, what does that make you, murderer? A criminal like you has no right to privacy. And this is what I found from these diaries. Natsui's son ended up married to Cross-On due to special circumstances. I imagine all of you here know how much more about this than I do. Natsui's son and Cross-On were not married because of love or as a normal arranged marriage. If anything, it was more like talking to taking a hostage. That is not true. That is written on the 24th page of this diary. I am a hostage being imprisoned by the Ushiomi family under the guise of a marriage. However, if everything can be resolved this way. Natsui's son, right here you've already acknowledged that you were a hostage. Kumasawa-san, you have served Natsui since the first time she came here, right? Could you tell me about what it was like at that time? Yes, that's correct. I did catch witness something similar to what you described. I think that by now. Only Dr. Najo and I know the details regarding Madame's marriage. Very true. That was during Kendo-san's golden era when he did whatever he pleased. He defeated all of his enemies and expanded his financial power. Natsui-san's family was one of those enemies. As of the time when the selling come at hand, Kumasawa and Najo openly delved into territory that should never been touched upon again. This was concerning the period at which Kenzo was most feared for his ferocity. It has been said that though Kenzo had many assets and connections, he held a grudge after being looked down upon by members of the elite as being an upstart. Because of this, apparently Kenzo wanted to find Cross, their wife from a noble family, and use this to raise their Ushiomi family status. Then he overcame Natsui's family in a financial struggle and then proposed that a marriage be performed as a method of reconciliation. And the person he picked was Natsui. Natsui had been raised to be clean and pure in the family of a Shinto priest, making her a true noble lady. By choosing her, not only did Kenzo cause them the worst possible humiliation, he also won that he would consider to be a nice trophy, so that marriage proposal was humiliating to Natsui from the very beginning. Regarding the aforementioned facts, both Kumasawa and Dr. Najo claim just matches with the contents of the diary. Therefore, since the time Natsui first took the name Ushiomi Natsui, she has held a strong resentment against the Ushiomi and the family. What do you have to say, Natsui-san? Do you acknowledge this? All the cold gazes turned to face Natsui. Yes, it's true. I thought that at first. I thought I was being forced into a marriage without love, a hostage under the guise of a bride. However, my husband never viewed me as a mere hostage. He understood what I had gone through and gave me compassion and affection. My husband was the only person who could understand me. I see. That makes sense. And there are many scenes in your diary showing that Cross-On knew of your difficulties and showed kindness. However, on page 47 of this diary, you describe these moments as being unpleasant, correct? Let me read aloud. When Cross tries to show kindness, it makes me feel more wretched. Sometimes I think he might even be trying to humiliate me further. Therefore, we could tell that Natsui-san repaid her husband's kindness with contempt. But wait. Yes, I might have thought that at the beginning, back when I was so overwhelmed with unease, I couldn't accept his kindness and real my distress from time to time, but I eventually realized he was sincere and good to accept his feelings. Well, nothing like this appears in any of these diaries. I never even wrote it down. Those feelings were so secret. Judged by many diverse bits of evidence and testimony, it's clear that you despised your husband, and there exists no evidence that you eventually accepted his feelings as you claim. I love my husband. You can't even find any testimony or evidence that can be used to elevate this statement to the level of red truth, right? Does anyone need evidence to say they're in love? You can't just say they besides the red truth. Statements that aren't red don't count as evidence at all, and they can't be trusted at all. All non-red letters are falsehoods that exist to deceive me. I love you. Who would believe that when spoken with the white text? No non-red words could ever be trusted. All I could trust in this world are the red truth and pieces of evidence I offered to my master to gain it. You lying human who can't speak the truth. Humans stuck in the red truth have no right to speak of love with their heart or truth, you know? Did you know men aren't as stupid as women as you women think they are, and men never really take it seriously when a woman says I love you? What a pitiful person. I see that you've never truly loved someone. Romance is unnecessary for a detective. I don't think I ever used the word romance except to explain a motive for a murder. No matter what you say, we loved each other. I should apologize I should be apologizing to my husband for always writing down my complaints and nothing else. But I have devoted my heart to him, even if I can't prove it, that is the truth. Rejected, you just don't know when to give up, do you? By now, due to the evidence of testimony, it's clear you hated your husband and the Ushirimiya family. That's right. I can't even count the number of times I've heard you complain. Oh, and you never talked behind Hideyoshi-san's back? Damn it, you killed my husband. How dare you say that? Die, apologize to my husband. Please cease your violence, Eva-san. This is the other precious moment where I question the convict culprit. It's not yours, okay? Well then, over the next several years, she appeared to have gotten used to her new way of life, but in actuality, intense hatred still lurked in her heart. Taking that into consideration, there would be nothing odd at all about her deciding to take revenge. Don't act like you know what I'm thinking. Each time Erika read Natsui's diaries one after another, she exposed more of Natsui's emotions during those painful days. Natsui hadn't written them to leave worse words behind. She had written to forget those memories and seal them away. That's why she had written down her feelings during those painful days, locked them up, and sealed them away for all eternity. However, Erika claimed that these were Natsui's true hidden feelings that locked away and concealed. Since it had already been concluded that Natsui was a murderer, everyone accepted Erika's claim. By this point, the red truth wasn't even necessary to establish Natsui's motive. As long as the reason seemed plausible, everyone would believe it. No matter how much Natsui might object, no one would believe her. No one could accept the truth Natsui spoke of about the days she had spent loving her husband. That she had painted it over by a false truth, and what she hated her husband and swore revenge against them. The pain of the gods that composed the truth had been given to Erika. And so what? Who gives a damn about your past? Murderer. Stop that. I can understand how Natsui's son felt. I always thought this day would come eventually. Poor thing. I think she's just one of the pitiful victims of father's wildlife. I knew the pain in Madame's heart. I always tried to support her. But if I fail, look what has happened. I don't even understand the emotions of love and hate. You will someday. It could become a reason to live. Also a reason to kill. Natsui is really the culprit? Well, now that you mention it, there is just one person besides Natsui-san that might be the culprit. What? Hey, are you serious? Why didn't you say something that more important sooner? Natsui-san, the truth is, there's one person besides you for whom the crime was possible. If you truly claim that you aren't the culprit, it means that the person must be the culprit. Huh? Who is it? Who? Ushimiya Kenzo-san. Early this morning, Kenzo-san went to the outside the window of the third floor study, and his location is unknown. Is that right, Battler-san? Just like Natsui's son, Kenzo-san has no alibi whatsoever. The truth is, for Kenzo, it was crime. It was possible for Kenzo-san to be the culprit as well. I just assumed that he never existed in the first place, so I totally forgot about him until just now. Allow me to apologize. She didn't look shy or apologetic in the slightest. Erika about it, and as pleasant as manner as ever. She had held a grudge ever since her defeat in the study battle. Natsui's-san, you gained Kenzo's trust and are the person who served closest to him, right? So shouldn't you know him better than anyone else? This incident is actually the crime of the family head carried out by Ushimiya Kenzo-san. Will you dare call father a criminal? Don't worry. I have prepared more than enough evidence and testimony to explain why I've done it. If Kenzo-san was actually the culprit, if you say, for example, that you put yourself on the line for cover for Kenzo's crime, I am more capable of supporting you. Ever since the late period of the author, Larry Queen, even the theory created by the detective can sometimes change the plot itself. You really can't afford to be careless in this day and age. I won't let you treat father like the culprit. Natsui-san, calm down, put your hand on the chest and think carefully. If you accuse Kenzo-san of being the culprit, this entire case will be resolved. You will no longer be held accountable for another person's action. Your honor will be restored. In other words, by pushing your blah blah blah. In other words, by pushing the crime onto Kenzo, Natsui-san will be saved. However, I have been entrusted with the honor of the Ushimiya family by father. Do you really think that I would defile father's honor, the Ushimiya family honor, just to clear the false accusations made against me? Of course, Natsui knew that she wasn't the culprit, and she also knew that Kenzo was, and so being framed herself and pushing the blame onto Kenzo were both unacceptable and unbearable outcomes. Are you sure? As I've already established quite thoroughly, otherwise have been proven for everyone except you. If you will not accuse Kenzo-san, then this time it will be clear that you're the culprit, and the truth will become true, right? If you label me as a culprit and call that your personal truth, and do whatever you like, I am sure that God knows of my innocence. Eventually, He will prove it. If I came to the choice between her and Kenzo being framed, Natsui would sacrifice herself. Perhaps this was her way of protecting her Ushimiya family's honor. Natsuhi, and I even give you a chance. Stupid woman. The future where your name will eventually be clear doesn't exist for any of you, not for any of the pieces on this board. Natsuhi made her decision. If they were going to call her the culprit, she would let them. She boldly rejected the thought of selling Kinzo's honor to gain a momentary truth where she wasn't the culprit, and therefore the tale was woven with her as the culprit. In the future, the accusations against her are proven false. This tale will probably be rewritten. However, that future will never come, I think. The truth is a fleeting thing, even if I am a good person until my death. If someone heartless person after my death overwrites the records and say I wasn't a good person, if that is shared with everyone else, then even all the goodness in which I lived my life could be overwritten easily, and so I think that I won't live as a good person for all eternity. If he claimed that Kinzo was not the culprit, he wouldn't need an alibi proving that the crime was impossible for him. Otherwise, we could naturally be certain that you're the culprit. And that's what you said. Ergo was probably known for a long time. Kinzo was nothing more than an illusion to make the inheritance problem more uncertain. However, it would be very hard to prove that he was an illusion. The only way to do this would be confirm Kinzo's death, but as it been made known by the Red Truth and previous games, Kinzo died a long time ago, and in this fifth game, his corpse hasn't even appeared. In a situation like this, it won't be easy to absolutely prove his death. If Kinzo's death was confirmed, it practically erased that defeat in the study. It was the only way Erica had of removing the humiliation of that loss. And there was something that could confirm Kinzo's death almost as certain as real proof. And that was the confession of the culprit. It would mean having Natsuhi acknowledge that Kinzo no longer existed in this world. That way it would be acknowledged that Erica's reasoning in the study was correct. The loss would be painted over and be rewritten as Erica's victory. Battler hung suspended by the Leonard's red sword to be told to disappear by having her existence denied and her minions had gone to. In this cathedral that had disappeared from, only Natsuhi and all witches convicting her remained. So, you still claim that Kinzo's alive and remains somewhere on this island. That's correct. Father is in good health, and no matter what anyone says, I will not change my statement. The Red Truth of the previous game says that Kinzo is already dead, but what's that not enough to satisfy you, Ratburn? Yeah, that's right. I'm after a perfect victory, so there's nothing interesting about getting a checkmate just because Kinzo's death has been confirmed by the Red. I want to win by forcing Natsuhi to say she's resigned. Oh, I gotta sneeze again. Oh, I couldn't pause for this first sneeze in time, but I got it for the second sneeze. Now why don't you try it? Show us what you got. My master list to achieve perfect victory. Of course, Natsuhi, you say Kinzo certainly left, but you don't know where he is, correct? Yes, that's right. Father looked through the window and his location is unknown. He is so troublesome sometimes. I'm gonna make Kinzo's location from 24 until the morning absolutely clear. From 24 until in the morning, Kinzo stayed in the same room. Well, that's true. He was a corpse after all. No, I'm sorry. That's right. Totally right. I won't bite in. It sounds interesting, so keep going. From now on, I'll use the word Kinzo to refer to living Kinzo. After all, Natsuhi claims that he's alive. I'll say more to Red Truth. Kinzo does not exist anywhere outside the mansion. It's that right, Erica? Yes, my master. I searched for Kinzo all over the premises outside the mansion. However, I was unable to find them. Because of the detective's authority, Erica couldn't find all clues. Therefore, if Erica was unable to find a hint that Kinzo existed outside the mansion, it was the same as proving that Kinzo didn't exist outside the mansion. Therefore, Brooke still repeated the truth of Erica's. Kinzo does not exist outside the mansion. Hey, Natsuhi, if Kinzo does exist, then that means me be somewhere inside the mansion. Do you have any idea where Kinzo might be hiding? How could I not? After all, I think of the weather. There will be nothing strange about him leaving the courtyard to hide somewhere in the mansion and to dry off. From this point forward, I'll repeat the same thing several times. I'll give you many chances for an honorable surrender. If you are too stubborn, you'll lose even your true honor. No matter how you threaten me, I'll not give in. I just love teasing pieces like you. Now this could continue. For the aforementioned reasons, it's unthinkable that Kinzo's son could have been somewhere outside the mansion. So first off, I performed an extensive search of the third floor where the study is. However, there is nowhere he could have been hiding, and we couldn't find any trace of that on the third floor. So then where is he, Natsuhi's son? I don't know. If he's on the third floor, perhaps he's hiding in the basement. Oh yes, the basement, the boiler room, that underground storage room, every part of your suspicious basement was also included in my search. Yes, I searched too. I didn't see Father anywhere. I'll say it again. Where was Kinzo, Natsuhi's son? In that case, he probably was on the first floor, second floor. I see process of elimination does tell us that, doesn't it? When he then thoroughly searched the first floor, and the result, nothing. We were unable to find Father. I'll say it again. Where was Kenzo-san, Natsuhi-san? The enemy was probably hiding on the second floor. How should I know where Father was hiding? Are you sure about that? Do you really not know where Kenzo-san was hiding? Madame knows where Kenzo was hiding. That's insane. It can't be true, but Shannon and Ken knew that Kenzo's already dead, so they hadn't had a clue Erika would use a phantom of a person that didn't exist according to Natsuhi. Kenzo was nowhere outside that mansion. Kenzo was on the third floor. Kenzo was in the basement. Kenzo was on the first floor. Therefore, the only place Kenzo could possibly exist is the second floor. I accept the red truth, Natsuhi. Kenzo should be somewhere on the second floor. Will you still not tell us where he's hiding? No matter how many times you ask, it won't change the fact I don't know. Erika started getting and going in order, investigating the entire second floor. Used our detective's authority to avoid missing a single clue, to see through all your hidden, to see through all types of hidden doors and hidden rooms. That's my master. That Natsuhi sounds pretty dumb, isn't she? She still can't see where we're going with this. Hee. No one to talk to you more than necessary. Come on, Erika. Take everyone with you and begin the investigation. Erika used the detective's authority to take everyone, even Natsuhi, and go up to the second floor to search every room and starting at one end. Even for the rooms that were thought nothing at all to do with the crime, Erika did not relax her search in the slightest. Her search was through every single room as they moved through them all. So you still won't tell us where Kenzo-san is hiding? Stop saying that. How many times do I have to say that? I don't know. Natsuhi-san, even if we do keep searching, we'll never be able to find Kenzo-san at this rate, right? Of course, Kenzo doesn't exist. No matter how long the search continues, it's just a waste of time. This was owned by Erika, the witch's piece, and Natsuhi, the one who knew the truth. In that case, the search will end in the room at the far end of the corridor. In other words, it will have been proven that Kenzo was in any of the rooms except that one. What do you think about that? He is on the third floor, the first floor of the basement, and he is in any of the rooms on the second floor, except the one at the end. So if he really did exist as I mentioned, it had been proven that he could only exist in that room at the end. In other words, this was Himple's Raven, because it had been established that a living Kenzo couldn't exist anywhere except the final room at the end of the corridor. That automatically meant that a living Kenzo existed in that final room, and the room at the end corridor was... which room was at the very end of the corridor again, and the Delta was munching the refill popcorn. That's Natsuhi's room that he lent at Delta. In other words, Kenzo had no place to hide except inside Natsuhi's room. Do I need to say it in red? Of course. Kenzo does not exist anywhere outside Natsuhi's room. Well then, that means this room is the only place left. It means Kenzo-san isn't anywhere outside this room. Isn't it my room? Where exactly in my room do you think Father is hiding? And the rage Natsuhi unlocked the door to her room and pointed inside. Of course, Kenzo was nowhere to be seen. Do you see Father anywhere in here? Look. I see. It looks like he is in here. Did he realize we were coming and escape out the window? If Kenzo was in this last room, it meant that he didn't exist anywhere. There was no living Kenzo outside the mansion. There was no living Kenzo inside the mansion. Therefore, no living Kenzo existed. However, Erika didn't make that argument. She had pointed out herself without making a checkmate. It was because Burkistel didn't want to win by cornering Natsuhi with the red truth. She wanted to force Natsuhi to accept her humiliating resignation. I've not only been searching for Kenzo-san himself all this time. I've been looking for signs that Kenzo-san hid somewhere between 24 in the morning, and no signs of it existed. In other words, from 24 until morning, Kenzo was always holed up in the same room, and that was Natsuhi's room. It means that checkmate of the red truth was filing according to the piece, and us Kenzo's phantom inside Natsuhi's room. Hey Natsuhi-san, this means you were with Kenzo in the room until morning. Do you still couldn't you didn't know where he was? I'll acknowledge it with red truth. During the night between 24 and morning, a living Kenzo could not exist anywhere outside Natsuhi's room. I permit you use this truth to advance your argument about how he could only have existed in Natsuhi's room. I plead bargain. Hey Natsuhi, even someone as stupid as you might have realized I'll fix you in now. This is your last chance to make Kenzo the culprit. Call those human family head a criminal and crush the heads under to protect yourself. If you show that you have the guts to do that, I'll change the plan to the one about Judge Heroin, taking the blame to protect the family head. Father is innocent. I cannot call Father a criminal. She's refused to deal. Hee okay, Burn. You do it. During the night between 24 and morning, there exists no place for a living Kenzo to exist except inside your bed. What? And what do you mean by that? After conducting a thorough search of this room, a detailed scientific examination discovered that Kenzo did not exist anywhere in this room between 24 and morning. However, your bed is the only exception. A shocked silence dominated the room. Natsuhi completely forgot to close her open mouth. Last night, around the time the goal was discovered, is probably about 23. Kendall escaped from the window on the third floor and stuck at the bed in your room. And as an even more unfortunate result from my investigation, it has been proven that you were also sleeping in that bed. There we go. I'll repeat it. From 24 until morning, a living Kenzo could only have existed inside Natsuhi's bed, and last night, Natsuhi also slept in that same bed. Well, look how close they were, so you two were so close to each other you slept sharing the same pillow. Blue truth, therefore, it was suspected that Ushirobe Natsuhi and Ushirobe Kenzo had sexual relations with each other. Why else would a man and a woman share the same bed all night long? How rude to think that I would do such a thing with father. I respected so much, I wouldn't like to say such things. Natsuhi used the red truth to counter this blue truth. Of course, if you are no red truth, there is no red that you can use. So I'll speak with the red truth in your place. At least I will if you show me convincing proof. How could you such proof even exist? How long are you going to think to mock me, damn it? Natsuhi tried to attack Erika, but Eva pinned their arms behind her back so she couldn't do anything. How unsightly. In order to take revenge against the Ushirobe family, you first came to take control of everything the family owned. For that reason, you used the body as a weapon and ensnared Kenzo's son. I never did anything of the sort. I never have given my body to anyone except my husband. I understand why you want to deny it, but testimony from several witnesses has already been made clear that you repeated secret meetings with Kenzo's son. After all, last night you went to say goodnight to Kenzo's son with just the two of you alone in the study, right? And beyond that, I've collected multiple bits of testimony regarding clear traces of sexual intercourse. Are you insane? Who was it? Who said something so ridiculous? Goda? Shannon? Was it Eva-san? You were supposed to be behind something this ludicrous. Who was it? Who? I received testimony from these involved. Wow, this is pretty fatal. You don't room for doubt now. Hey, Natsuhi, it looks like you don't even have a scrap of honor left now, but I'll give you one final chance before I build you the worst of all possible fragments. Go ahead and say that Kenzo wasn't there, okay? That's right, you are sure stubborn Natsuhi. The Ushirobe family has already been torn to ribbons, right? Are you really that desperate to confuse the inheritance problem by pretending Kenzo exists? This is my final challenge of protecting the honor of the Ushirobe family, which father entrusted with me. My house's business will definitely be seceded. Until we can use that to repay our debts, I cannot hand over the inheritance of the Ushirobe family. I will protect father and my husband's honor. That is my mission. Wanting to protect the honor of the dead is an admirable trait. He's not one of the dead. We're talking about the honor of a convenient delusion inside Natsuhi's head. The Irokas will never once order Natsuhi to protect that honor. Wow. As Natsuhi screamed, she fell down to her hands and knees. She no longer had any way to reject the fake truth that Burgestall and Erika had weaved. By name, as the game master along the Delta, I acknowledge Lady Burgestall as the victor of this game. If anyone has objections, state your name now. Of course, there were none. All those whom I have objected have been erased. No objections. Burn, this is your victory, and a wonderful victory it is. Now you must weave up the fragment of the truth. Sure, I'll go weave up the truth. This is the truth of the apathetic tale. Though I did want Natsuhi to acknowledge your crime while half laughing and half crying. After all, that's standard in the genre, right? After being forced into marriage she hadn't wanted, Natsuhi developed a grudge against the Ushirobe family and was filled with the desire for revenge. From the trial set of this page 30, Natsuhi was also hoping to take revenge for the financial submission her parents' family had been forced into by the Ushiromiya's scheme to capture the Ushiromiya family's wealth. From the trial set of this page 4. Knowing that the wealth of the Ushiromiya family was, in practical terms, under Kenzo's personal control, she initiated sexual relations to curry favor with them and managed to stare him. From the trial set notice page 7, from the Burkestall Docs page 682. To curry favor with Kenzo, Natsuhi repeatedly imitated Beatrice, to which the Kenzo's delusions and engaged in sexual acts. Kenzo saw his long-lost mistress in Natsuhi and was easily ensnared. Furthermore, by chance, she was sometimes witnessed in guise with the servants, and this became part of the foundation for the legend of the witch. From the trials of St. Numbers, page 8, from presented evidence number 17, from Birkenstock Docks, page 802. However, late at night, October 4, 1986, Ushima Battler discovered the hidden gold. The relatives were in an uproar and decided that Battler should succeed the headship, so Natsui planned the crime. She murdered the children in the so-called cousin room and tried to frame Battler for the crime. Furthermore, Genji was murdered for opposing the scheme. Later on, Hideyoshi was also murdered. From this point on, she displayed a strong intent to indiscriminately murder all those involved. From the trial, sent on this page 27, from the supplement materials B, page 61, from the Birkenstock Docs, page 1103. The following outlines the details of the crime. 24 October 4th, 1986, Natsui decided to commit the crime. She asked Genji to assist her but refused, so she murdered him. She then murdered her husband crossing his own room. From the trial, sent on this page 40, from supplemental materials S, page 8, from the Birkenstock Docs, page 1105, from GC Internal Docs General Affairs A09, number 9974. Afterwards, she went to the so-called cousin room on the second floor of the guest house, waited for Rosa to join the rest, and killed George, Jessica, Maria, and Rosa. She damaged and exited those corpses. Afterwards, because there were people in the lounge on the first floor, she waited in an empty room on the second floor. She hid this empty room until the bed in the lounge disappeared and went to bed. From that trial, that was page 41, from some supplement materials S, page 10, from the Birkenstock Docs, page 1131, from GC Internal Docs General Affairs 809, 99, 74. The people in the lounge disappeared just until 3 a.m. Now she left the empty room and escaped from the guest house. She returned to her personal room where she met with Kenzo, who had been hiding there. She stayed there until morning. Kenzo left the room early morning and concealed himself somewhere near the guest house. From the trial symptom was page 41, from supplemental material as page 29, from the Birkenstock Docs, page 1200, GC Internal Docs General Affairs 809, number 9974. Afterwards, Kenzo saw his chance to carry off the corpses of the 6 victims one by one, hiding them. Unfortunately, these hidden corpses have not been found. From the trial symptom was page 42, from supplemental materials as page 37, from GC Internal Docs General Affairs 809, number 9974. Now, so you guys felt and screamed to cast suspicion on Battler, changed their plan to include the murder of all present. From the trial, Sinopus, page 58, from supplemental materials T, page 19, from Birkenstock Docs, page 1348, from GC Internal Docs General Affairs 809, number 9974. Predicting that one of those present would eventually want to take the rest in a private room. Now, so you concealed herself in a closet in one of the guest rooms. About 1 p.m., she murdered Hideyoshi after he entered that room. From the trial synopsis, page 61, from supplemental materials T, page 26, from GC Internal Docs General Affairs 809, 9974. During the time the others became aware of the incident, the time that she carried out Hideyoshi's corpse out, Natsui once again concealed herself in the closet. Furthermore, as proof of this, a button from Natsui's clothes were found in the closet. Afterwards, she left the closet and tried to return to her room. However, Furuto Erika found that and questioned her first as she confessed to the crime for the trial synopsis, page 63, from supplemental material, page 32, and presented evidence 26 on Birkenstock Docs, page 1348, from Lambda Delta Docs, line 7, from GC Internal Docs General Affairs 809, number 9974, from GC Internal Docs for subsection U99, number 0107, from GC Official Notice number 01724434. GC Official Notice number 01724434 due to the result of illusion trial number 0447007982 24 o'clock October 5th, 1986, we announce the following has been determined that Ushima Natsui did admit to her crime. For 13 months following this announcement, related docs will be perused at the Great Court Legal Office's document miniatures in our first subsection. Great Court Deputy Chief Head Acquisitive Heresy. The letter A docs. Man, I need to really blow my nose really bad. Oh, it's still going on? Okay, then I'll assume I did it all. Okay, that's what you want me to say, right? Well, so she given up and decided that it may be useless to try and look away of this any longer. And that's what you screamed that out. It was a sad incident, and I want to believe that despite the pitiable circumstances that led her to her marriage and using her family, Natsui just might have been able to grasp a silver happiness together with Uncle Cross and Jessica. However, by Natsui's own doing, Uncle Cross and even her beloved daughter Jessica had been heartlessly killed. It was even harder to believe that grandfather had been an accomplice and hid the corpses. However, judging by the clear testimony given by several people who knew him, grandfather's mental state for these last few years had been far from anyone would consider normal. Perhaps possessed by a mad devotion to the mistress he had lost long ago. Grandfather might truly have believed that Nasri was a reincarnation of Beatrice. Where is grandfather now? Like Eric theorized, did he really believe that he could revive Beatrice but carried out murderous folly the epitaph? Succumbing to Nasri's cajolery. Right now he is holding some kind of disturbing ceremony with the bodies he carried away. Are you satisfied now? This is what you wanted me to say, right? And then Nasri something she spoke. This is your revenge, isn't it? You mean the man from 19 years ago? It's the man from 19 years ago that Nasri kept mentioning was supposedly someone who had caught her in some sort of trap. However, she only mentioned that this man from 19 years ago existed and most certainly hadn't tried to explain what had happened 19 years ago. I'm sure that man's underling is one among us here. I'm sure that right now that man is ridiculing me through one of you. Then tell me, are you happy now? Has a bit of that pain and stuff you endured 19 years ago gone away? Finally, I understand. The reason you cornered me so far is because you wanted me to acknowledge that, right? Natsuki, son, other than us, there's absolutely no one here. Please stop this assembling disrespect and quit pretending that someone who does things this actually does. Erica laughed mockingly at us, and Natsuki looked at us. She looked at some being behind us. She hung her head and she shook. And then she confessed to her sin. I committed murder. So you finally acknowledge your crime directly? No. This is not about what happened today and yesterday. I will confess to murder 19 years ago. The adults all whispered together, wondering what this was about, because they never heard about a murder case 19 years ago. 19 years ago, I committed a sin. I couldn't forgive it. That baby. Baby, and what are you talking about? On that day, 19 years ago, father entrusted me with the baby. Since I couldn't bear a successor of my own, father told me to adopt a child, and he made me hold a baby that he said he had brought from an orphanage. Do you have any idea how humiliating that was to me as a woman? With a mix of conflicting emotions of anger, sadness, and regret, impossible defiance, and also you confess. Her humiliation of a woman is a woman who she knows no longer expected to bear a child, also indescribably opposed to feeling of being made to hold an unfamiliar baby. It caused her a great sadness and rage, and before very many nights passed, it ate a hole into her heart. And then I sold my soul to demons. It happened when I went on a walk through the rose garden and to the harbor along with the servant holding the baby. I wanted to be alone, but the female servant holding the baby faithfully followed me everywhere. I wasn't able to even tell her to stop following me, and therefore unable to escape the child's crying. That day marked the beginning of 19 long headache-filled years. Dimly faced the cliff from across the fence. If by taking that baby and throwing it down the rocky beach far below me, I could undo it all. I really did to that demon's temptation. Then, for the smallest moments, I thought how wonderful it would be if I could really do that, and lay an ear to that temptation. At that time, the servant holding the baby slipped on a large rock, twisted her ankle, and staggered. She leaned against the rough fence, and at that time, I thought I heard the fence creak loudly. I told her to look out and try to grab her on her shoulder. No, I shouldn't be so vague. I'll repent. I'll confess. At that moment, I was sure that as I told her to look out, with both hands, I reached for the servant's shoulder and with a thud, pushed her away hard. The rough fence snapped from the base, and the servant, along with the baby and held in her arms, fell down towards the rocky beach below. And even though I remember that moment vividly, for some reason I recall a vague and very strange feeling. It almost felt as though instead of falling, the two of them more suddenly swallowed up into the empty space, so I didn't even hear the sound of them crashing to the rocky beach. No, I'm sure I heard it because I wanted to think they disappeared. I must have erased that sound from my memory. And then, for an instant, I thought it was a dream, and it was high enough that I couldn't see the two of them below me just by leaning over, so I didn't know whether their fall or a few seconds before that had actually happened or not. I must have been wishing so strongly that the child would fall that I just had a daydream. Trying to make myself believe this, I hurried back to the rose garden, and I decided to let the servant take care of the baby, choosing to take the rest alone in the garden. And then Father asked what happened to the baby, and an uproar began over there something. Did I keep skipping things by accident? Anyways, eventually the broken fence was discovered, and 2 corpses were found at the bottom of the cliff. The child had apparently been here for reasons that couldn't become known, so the existence was hushed up. And the official story was that the servant had an accident on her own and died. That's right. I stole away 2 innocent lives in one go. As for the poor servant, her family was graciously compensated. Her aged husband, who didn't know the truth, accepted this even though he grieved over the unfortunate accident. Then just a few years ago, he died of old age and now confessed the truth over his grave, apologizing. But until this day, I never apologized to that baby. Yes, that's why you're up here, isn't it? So right now, I'll confess to my crime. You showed me that's what you did 19 years ago, pushed you off a cliff and tried to kill you. But you didn't die, did you? You're still alive, and you still call me mother. You came to this island and took your revenge on me, didn't you? For those 19 years, you knew that one you should have called your mother, pushed you off a cliff, and you must have lived a very hate-filled life. And now you've taken everything I've gained since pushing you off that cliff. 18 years of my life and smashed it all to pieces. I no longer have my beloved husband and daughter, and I've lost my honor and being called a murderer. No, I really am a murderer, aren't I? Yep, that's right. According to your plans, I'm now recorded as a killer. How's that? Is this enough for your revenge? My husband and my daughter have been killed and been made to look like a murderer, like even an adulteress even. After seeing me live in disgrace like this, are you satisfied? Yes, I bet you're quite satisfied. Because my family, my honor, everything has been stolen from me. Oh. After all this, you still claim that you were afraid? Seriously, though, you just don't know when to give up. Can you hear me, you cursed from 19 years ago? Are you satisfied now? You stole everything from me now. What else could you want? Please, just forgive me. It's useless, isn't it? Huh? Battler sighed. Did you say something? It's all useless. Battler cud? Yeah. It's useless, isn't it? It's all useless. Huh. Died before the game start. Died on the first twilight. Alive at the time of the game suspension. Died on the first twilight. Alive at the time of the game suspension. Died on the second twilight. Died on the first twilight. Alive at the time of the game suspension. Alive at the time of the game suspension. Died on the first twilight. Died on the first twilight. Alive at the time of the game suspension. Died on the first twilight. Shannon, alive at the same. Okay. There's not very many people on here, so. Man, my throat's so scratchy, man. It's almost 1:30. I was supposed to be in bed for work a half an hour ago. Well, I just could never find a good time to stop this. I went for almost 2.5 hours. There's just no good time to stop. This could have been 2 videos worth right here. Maybe even 3. When they cry 4. Hope other. Okay, addition of the features, go to which is prepared to get for you to wish to stay. You can find these new features on the title screen. New features like what? Okay. Now, I didn't want to mention something at the end if you guys are still watching this. The first Umineko half that came on Steam, known as the Question Arcs, I never did the tea parties, and apparently they were an important part of the story, and I didn't realize that until like near the end of the playthrough. So, it's kind of too late to go back and do, episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, episode 4, all those different tea parties, and I was already pretty much at the end of the thing. So, unlike then, I will be doing the tea parties. But I'm just saying. So if you guys, so I mean, that kind of gave me a reason for you guys to, to go buy the first half of Umineko off Steam, so you guys can read the Tea Party for yourselves. Instead of just watching me and not going and buying it, because you guys should really give Manga Gamer your money. I mean, this is a great thing to read, basically. But yeah, next time we'll be doing the Tea Party. Even in Higurashi, I never read the tips or anything until like the latest Higurashi. Like it was like what, chapter 5 or something like that. I mean, I didn't even do the tips on the rest of them. I didn't realize I needed to do that either. But yeah, from now on, I will be doing Tea Parties. And like guys, I'm gonna in this upload go to bed.